Chapter 734. In the cultivation world, there were heavenly ingredients and earthly treasures that could increase the upper limit of one's magic power, but they were just too rare. This golden Tao fruit could increase the upper limit of one's magic power. It was definitely a rare item. It was no wonder that the cultivators of the Slaughter Palace were always unrivaled at the same level as them. The secret of this golden Tao fruit might be the reason. Since there was such a fortune in the heaven-reaching tower, it was necessary for him to go all out and challenge this tower. He had opened the first orifice of the ancient god realm. To him, the medicinal power of the golden Tao fruit could be doubled. With a determined look, Ning Fan stepped into the teleportation formation and went to the third floor. There were 3 loose immortal golden men on the third floor. At the moment Ning Fan appeared on the third floor, the 3 golden men moved their fingers and combined their 7 imprints into one, sending out a golden palm that blotted out the sky. That palm imprint was indescribably mysterious. The palm imprints that the 3 golden men sent out seemed to be different from each other. The 3 completely different palm imprints seemed to have something in common. However, when Ning Fan took a closer look, he found that they were vastly different. What a strange palm imprint. Burn! After killing the 3 golden men with a lift of his finger and devouring the golden Tao fruits, Ning Fan went all the way to the next floor. The 4th floor, the 5th floor, the 6th floor, there would be 1 more loose immortal golden man in each floor he ascended. There were 10 loose immortal golden men guarding the 10th floor. However, they were all turned into ashes by Ning Fan's black flame palm imprint. On his way to the 10th floor, Ning Fan consumed a total of 55 golden Tao fruits. The upper limit of his magic power had increased by about 3%. Along the way, Ning Fan realized that each of the golden men displayed the same type of ability. The hand seals were obviously the same, but the palm imprints were different from each other. It was different from the Execution Devil palm. The grade of the Execution Devil palm was very low and it was divided into countless palms by the giants. Therefore, it looked different from each other. The grade of the palm imprints displayed by the golden men far exceeded Ning Fan's cultivation base. Each of the golden men displayed a complete ability. However, the ability they displayed was different in appearance. Ning Fan stood on the 10th floor and remained silent for a long time. He was not in a hurry to go to the 11th floor. He suddenly became interested in this extremely high-grade golden palm technique. He imitated those golden men's hand seals. Gradually, layers of palm imprints condensed on his palms. When 7 layers of palm imprints appeared, Ning Fan combined them into one and sent out a palm strike. This palm transformed into a golden palm that blotted out the sky. Its momentum was vast, but its power was extremely weak. This palm strike probably wouldn't even be able to kill an ordinary loose immortal. You only have the form, but not the essence. Ning Fan shook his head helplessly. This palm imprint was not a body technique. He could not use Mo Luo's eye to copy or learn it secretly. If Ning Fan had not grasped the essence of this palm imprint, the destructive power of this palm imprint would be far inferior to the black flame palm imprint that Ning Fan casually threw out. Ning Fan realized that he had stayed on the 10th floor for too long. With a flash, he flew into the teleportation formation and entered the 11th floor. There was only 1 golden man guarding the 11th floor, but it was at the early stage of the human profound realm. The golden man still combined his 7 palms into one and sent out palm imprints to attack Ning Fan. Because it was an early-stage human profound realm gold man, its attacks were much faster than the loose immortal gold man. The palm imprint displayed by this golden man seemed to have something more than the palm imprint of the loose immortal golden man. With a flick of his finger, the black flames that blotted out the sky engulfed the golden man and the palm imprint. The mid-grade 8th grade yin-yang devil flame was unstoppable even for late human profound realm golden men. As for early human profound realm experts, they would not be able to withstand it. After the golden man was destroyed, a golden Tao fruit was born. It was a life immortal realm Tao fruit. The energy it contained was far beyond what a void fragmentation realm Tao fruit could compare with. Ning Fan held the Tao fruit in his hand and swallowed it. Just a single Dao fruit had increased Ning Fan's magic power and the upper limit of his magic power by around 5%. Without staying on the 11th floor, Ning Fan flew to the 12th floor with a flash. After the two early human Profound Realm golden men sent out their sky-covering golden palms, Ning Fan turned his hand and sent out two black flaming palm imprints, killing the two golden men and swallowing two golden Dao fruits. The 13th floor, the 14th floor, the 15th floor, along the way to the 20th floor, Ning Fan's expression was still calm even when he was surrounded by 10 early human Profound Realm golden men. Along the way to this floor, his magic power had increased tremendously. Even though he had yet to break through to the life immortal realm, his magic power was already comparable to an early human Profound Realm expert. 10 early human Profound Realm golden men were not enough to stop him at all. As the flaming palms flew out, the 10 golden men turned into ashes. After swallowing the 10 golden Dao fruits, Ning Fan's magic power improved tremendously again. In terms of magic power alone, he was no weaker than an ordinary early human Profound Realm expert. Ning Fan did not rush to the next floor. He closed his eyes and replayed the scenes of the golden men displaying their palm imprints on the first 20 floors in his mind. He seemed to have understood something, but he still felt that there was a barrier that he could not break through. He stood on the 20th floor for a very, very long time. In the outside world, the first 10 floors of the heaven-reaching tower had already shone with golden light one after another. However, the 11th floor had yet to be lit up. At that time, Ning Fan was still comprehending the palm imprints on the 10th floor. Naturally, the people in the outside world would not know about it. No one thought that Ning Fan would stop at the 10th floor. Many of them guessed that Ning Fan was spending time to recover his magic power in order to enter the 11th floor in his peak state. However, after Ning Fan passed the 20th floor, he did not go to the 21st floor for a long time. Many old monsters began to discuss among themselves, thinking that Ning Fan was probably going to stop at the 20th floor. Even though Ning Fan had a lot of offensive jade slips and he also had the explosion secret technique, his cultivation base was still low after all. The golden man on the 21st floor was at the mid-human Profound Realm. His attacks were extremely fast. If Ning Fan was not given any time to use his trump cards, he might not necessarily lose. It seems like that old ancestor Qian Qiu is having a hard battle on the 21st floor. Since he still hasn't passed this floor after such a long time, the chances of him passing this floor are not high. Even if he passes this floor, the next one will certainly be difficult to pass. The 20th floor, huh? Hee hee. With his cultivation base, it's already not bad for him to pass this floor. The one who spoke was a young man in golden armor. His expression was filled with disdain. His name was Jin Guang. He had a cultivation base at the peak human Profound Realm. He was a cultivator of the Eastern Heaven who joined the Slaughter Palace a few years ago. In the past, he had also won the first place in the grand competition. However, the cultivators who participated in the competition were not as lucky as the cultivators of this year. In this grand competition, the immortal king of the Nether Sea did not hesitate to spend a huge sum of money to activate the heaven-reaching tower. It was really too easy for the juniors who participated in this competition. 300 years ago, Jin Guang spent all the killing points that he had accumulated for 1,000 years to challenge the heaven-reaching tower once. At that time, he passed the 33rd floor with a late human Profound Realm cultivation base. With the help of the golden Dao fruit that he obtained, he went into seclusion for 100 years and broke through to the peak human Profound Realm. Jin Guang had slaughtered for 1,000 years and completed countless killing missions before he accumulated enough killing points to enter the heaven-reaching tower once. On the other hand, the juniors of this year could enter the heaven-reaching tower for free without doing anything. In comparison, Jin Guang really could not accept it. Naturally, he did not have a good impression of Ning Fan, who had the best result in this grand competition. There was also a hint of sarcasm in his words. Brother Jin's words agree with me. Even if that old ancestor Qian Qiu did not stop at the 20th floor, he would definitely stop at the 21st floor. The other tall young man who was at the early Ghost Profound Realm nodded in agreement. His name was Gao Yuan. He was also a heaven's pride of the eastern heaven who joined the slaughter palace in the past. He had painstakingly accumulated 700 years of killing points before he could enter the heaven-reaching tower once. He was really too jealous of the luck of this year's cultivators. Why did this year's cultivators get to enjoy the generous treatment of entering the heaven-reaching tower? Jealousy filled his heart with resentment towards Ning Fan, who was the champion of this year. No matter how he looked at Ning Fan, he just could not find it pleasing to his eyes. While the two of them were talking, a timid voice of a girl suddenly sounded. I don't think that old ancestor Qian Qiu will stop at the 21st floor. He is so powerful and has so many trump cards. At the very least, he should be able to reach the 30th floor. The one who spoke was a little girl in blue robes. Her cultivation base was at the intermediate human profound realm. She was once the daughter of the Lu family of the Eastern Heaven. Her name was Lu Xian. After the Lu family was annihilated, she escaped alone and won the first place in the grand competition 2,000 years ago. After that, she joined the slaughter palace. Her appearance was not too beautiful, but it was considered delicate and pleasant. When they saw that the one who spoke was Lu Xian, who had no background in strength, Jin Guang and Gao Yuan snorted disdainfully. From their point of view, only a fool would think that Ning Fan could reach the 30th floor. Lu Xian's face was flushed. She just thought that Ning Fan could reach the 30th floor. She had completely blindly believed in Ning Fan. This little girl had already been captivated by Ning Fan's black robes and his elegant demeanor of defeating all the heaven's pride. After the Lu family was annihilated, this girl joined the slaughter palace. To be able to join the slaughter palace, it meant that this girl's talent and cultivation were not bad, but after all, she was still too inexperienced. Ning Fan's elegant demeanor of defeating all the geniuses was too dazzling. Lu Xian was not the only girl who was captivated by him. Of course, there were also quite a number of children who were frightened by Ning Fan's fierce name. Lu Xian, since you think that Ning Fan can go up to the 30th floor, why don't we make a bet? A short young man with shifty eyes walked towards them. His name was Sun Nian, and he was an eastern sky cultivator who joined the slaughter hall tens of thousands of years ago. Now, he was already at the middle stage of the ghost profound realm. Upon seeing Sun Nian, Jin Guang and Gao Yuan cupped their fists and greeted him. Sun Nian waved his hand and chuckled. What? Lu Xian, don't you think he can go up to the 30th floor? Why don't you dare to bet with me? I insist on betting that he will not be able to reach the 30th floor. I will bet 500 million Dao crystal. Having said that, Sun Nian winked at Jin Guang and Gao Yuan. The two of them understood and followed suit. I also bet 500 million. Bet that Ning Fan can't reach the 30th floor. I'll also bet 500 million. I bet that Ning Fan will not be able to reach the 30th floor. Sun Nian nodded his head in satisfaction and said to Lu Xian, Look, the three of us have taken out 1.5 billion to bet with you. Don't you believe that Ning Fan can go up to the 30th floor? Do you dare to bet with us? If you win, 1.5 billion Dao crystal will belong to you. If you lose, hee. Sun Nian's shifty eyes scanned across Lu Xian's delicate body. She immediately hugged her body and took half a step back. Then, she said timidly. I won't bet with my body. Who wants your small body? How can your small body be worth 1.5 billion? What I want is the quicksand pearl that you obtained in the secret place of quicksand. That's a rather powerful high-grade immortal treasure. It's almost comparable to a peak-grade immortal treasure. It can at least be used up to the true crossing realm. I won't bet on the quicksand pearl. I want to sell it. It can be sold for 2 billion Dao crystal. It's not up to you whether you want to bet or not. It's up to us. Sun Nian harumphed in displeasure. The little girl was so frightened that she did not dare to speak anymore. All right. Take out the quicksand pearl and leave it with me first. you will lose sooner or later anyway. If you are lucky enough to win, I will give you the pearl and all the Dao crystal. Sun Yan glared at Lu Xin air. She gritted her teeth and took out a purple pearl, passing it to Sun Yan. Sun Yan received the quicksand pearl. His shifty eyes turned into crescents. He chuckled and felt extremely proud of himself. He naturally did not believe that Ning Fan could reach the 30th floor. Thus, he was not the least bit interested in him challenging the heaven-reaching tower. Just as he was about to turn around and leave, he suddenly stopped and turned around in disbelief. All of a sudden, golden light shone brightly on the 21st floor of the heaven-reaching tower. Then, the 22nd floor and the 23rd floor lit up one after another. Along the way up the tower, golden lights lit up one after another. Eventually, the 30th floor also shone brightly. That Ning Fan is just a void fragmentation realm cultivator. He actually managed to get to the 30th floor. Jin Guang, Gao Yuan and Sun Yan's expressions changed. At this moment, there were many old monsters in the entire inner city who felt slightly surprised. From the 21st floor onwards, Ning Fan only had to face mid-human profound realm golden men. With Ning Fan's magic power that had skyrocketed, he could instantly kill a mid-human profound realm golden man by using the black flame palm imprint with all his might. Relying on the power of the yin-yang flame, Ning Fan went all the way to the 30th floor. Even when he faced 10 mid-human profound realm golden men, he could still kill all of them with a single palm strike. His current strength was no longer as weak as when he first entered the eastern sky. After eating the 55 mid-human profound realm golden Dao fruits, Ning Fan's magic power skyrocketed again, almost reaching the peak of early human profound realm. Before becoming an immortal, his magic power was already close to mid-human profound realm. Once he becomes an immortal, his magic power would skyrocket again. Perhaps he could directly skip the early human profound realm and break through to the mid-human profound realm. On the 30th floor, Ning Fan closed his eyes as usual. The scenes of the golden men executing their palm strikes replayed in his mind. His comprehension was getting deeper and deeper, but there was still a layer of barrier that prevented him from comprehending it. If I'm not mistaken, there are two great opportunities in this heaven-reaching tower. One is the golden Dao fruit and the other is the golden palm imprint. The Dao fruit is easy to obtain, but the palm imprint is hard to comprehend. What exactly is that barrier that I can't cross? Ning Fan opened his eyes and put away his distracting thoughts. Then, he sat cross-legged on the ground and began to recover his magic power. When his magic power had fully recovered, his figure flashed and entered the 31st floor. The one guarding the 31st floor was a late human profound realm golden man. A late human profound realm expert was no longer someone Ning Fan could kill with a single palm strike. In order to eliminate a late human profound realm expert, Ning Fan could only rely on the spatial vortex technique and the three flowers converging prominence technique. After activating the millions of lotus shadows to defend himself, no matter how strong the late human profound realm golden man was, he could not break through Ning Fan's defense. As for Ning Fan, he relied on the power of the spatial vortex technique to open a black hole with his palm and forcefully take the golden man away, killing him in the spatial vortex realm. After swallowing the golden Dao fruit, Ning Fan stepped into the teleportation formation and entered the 32nd floor. There were two late human profound realm golden men guarding this floor. If they joined forces, they might not be any easier to deal with than Bei Qinghan. Fortunately, Ning Fan had killed his way to the 32nd floor. His magic power had increased by more than 10 times compared to before he entered the tower. Therefore, after a tough battle, he still managed to eliminate the two golden men. There were 3 golden men on the 33rd floor. It was definitely not easy for Ning Fan to win this battle. It was not easy to ambush 3 golden men with the spatial vortex technique. When the 3 golden men joined forces, they would usually destroy the black hole as soon as it appeared. Unfortunately, Ning Fan's 3 flowers converging prominence technique was too powerful. No late human profound realm experts could hurt him. Facing the late human profound realm golden men, Ning Fan was already in an invincible position. Even though it was difficult to win using the spatial vortex technique, it was still possible. The 34th floor, the 35th floor, the 36th floor, Ning Fan continuously went to higher floors. Even though the time required to break through each floor was getting longer and longer, he still passed the 40th floor in the end. After consuming the golden Dao fruits, Ning Fan's magic power was already comparable to the middle level of mid-human profound realm. The palm imprints and abilities of the golden men replayed in his mind. After a long time, he opened his eyes. Looking at the teleportation formation that led to the 41st floor, Ning Fan was slightly hesitant. The one guarding the 41st floor must be a peak human profound realm golden man. Even if Ning Fan's magic power skyrocketed, it would still be difficult for him to defeat a golden man of this level. Although his magic power was strong, it was limited by his realm and his divine abilities were still too weak. Unless he broke through to the life immortal realm and practiced some powerful second-step divine abilities, he would not be able to defeat the peak of the human Xian realm. If I use offensive jade slips, array discs, and immortal talismans, I can clear the 41st level, or even the 42nd level. If I use the deity blast technique, I'm confident that I can reach a higher level. Ning Fan's brows were tightly knitted together. He scanned the cauldron world with his spirit sense. Zili had already formed a cocoon, and her aura was getting stronger and stronger. Currently, Zili's aura was already close to the peak of the human profound realm. Presumably, when she truly awakens, even if she isn't at the peak of the human profound realm, she would still be at the early stage of the ghost profound realm. It would be great if Zili was already awake. With Zili's unrivaled strength, Ning Fan would at least be able to reach the 50th floor. Now that Zili had not woken up, he could only think of another way. Or, he could give up on his methods and stake everything on a single gamble, killing his way to a higher level and obtaining a golden Dao fruit to increase his magic power. Or, he could keep his life-saving trump card and decisively giving up on the heaven-reaching tower's lucky chance. Ning Fan pondered for a while and finally made up his mind. The deity blast technique was currently his strongest life-saving trump card. He must not use it casually. After all, it was too difficult to gather primordial spirits of life immortal realm cultivators. As for those jade slips, immortal talismans, and array discs of the profound ghost attack and the Dujin attack, he could still use them. After all, he could always buy them again after using them. The golden Dao fruit was a great opportunity. Having more of them was better than nothing. Having made up his mind, Ning Fan stood up and stepped into the teleportation formation, appearing on the 41st level. The golden man on the 41st level was completely different from the giant he encountered before. His body was pure gold in color. His eyes, however, were made of black crystals. They were very lively as if he was a living person. Heaven-seizing seal. With a cold shout, his golden fingers moved like shadows and formed 7 palm imprints in an instant. The 7 palms combined into one and slammed down on Ning Fan. He was the first golden man that Ning Fan encountered after entering the tower who could speak. His eyes contained an emotion that the other golden men did not have. That emotion was contempt towards the heavens. The palm imprints that he displayed were called the heaven-seizing seal. Seizing the heavens was an action that was even more rebellious than defying the heavens. Following the heavens, evading the heavens, deceiving the heavens and deceiving the heavens. These kinds of cultivators lacked the intention of defying the heavens. Thus, their path towards the Tao was difficult. After all, cultivating the Tao was something that defied the heavens. Those who defy the heavens would go against the heavens and cultivate against the heavens. Even though they had the intention of defying the heavens and dared to defy the heavens' will, they were still in a position where the heavens were above them and humans were below them. Only when the heavens had a decree would humans be able to defy it. Defying was not the highest realm. The highest realm was heaven-seizing. The opportunity of seizing the heavens, usurping the position of the heavens and appointing oneself as the heavens. The cultivators of heaven-seizing stood at the same height as the heavens. Therefore, to display this heaven-seizing seal, one must have the intention of seizing the heavens. The heavens regarded all living beings as ants. Those who wished to seize the heavens must look down on the heavens like ants. Only then could they stand above the heavens. Traces of enlightenment emerged in his mind. He finally understood what that barrier was. Without saying anything, Ning Fan consecutively took out 2 immortal talismans of the profound ghost attack and destroyed the golden man and the palm imprints. A single profound ghost attack was not enough to kill a peak human profound realm cultivator. After swallowing the golden Dao fruit, Ning Fan remained silent for a while. Suddenly, his 10 fingers moved rapidly and formed hand seals. He finished forming the hand seals in an instant. When he opened his palm, 7 layers of golden palm imprints gradually appeared on his palm. When the 7 layers of palm imprints merged into one, Ning Fan sent out a palm strike. The golden palm that blotted out the sky immediately fell from the sky. The power of this palm strike had actually sucked away all of his magic power in an instant. The power of this palm strike was comparable to a mid-ghost profound realm attack. What level of ability is this? With my magic power that is comparable to a mid-human profound realm cultivator, I can actually exert the power of a mid-ghost profound realm attack. Heaven-seizing seal. Heaven-seizing seal. Who exactly is the person who created this palm imprint? How dare he have the intention of seizing the heavens? The current me can be considered to have comprehended the essence of the heaven-seizing seal. However, my understanding of the specific technique of the palm imprint is still far from enough. Besides, I keep feeling that the heaven-seizing seal that I have comprehended is not complete. Is it an illusion? In the outside world, on the Jade platform, Immortal King Nethersea's eyes suddenly flashed as if he had seen something unbelievable. Heaven-seizing seal. This kid's comprehension was really high. He could actually comprehend the heaven-seizing seal, which was a must-cultivate divine ability of the past slaying emperors. Could it be that this child actually has the aptitude to kill with a single palm and become an emperor? This kid seems to have realized that the heaven-seizing seal he comprehended is not complete. The 7 seals of seizing the heavens, refining the heavens into a palm, turning the palm into a seal. The complete cultivation method of this technique was only in the hands of the Slayer Emperors. In Tong Tian Tower, there was only the elementary cultivation method for this technique. Tong Tian Tower, all the way to heaven, then heaven seizing. The Nethersea Immortal King smiled in satisfaction and finally closed his eyes, no longer paying attention to the Tower of Babel. The fact that Ning Fan was able to comprehend this seal had already made him very satisfied. It was worth it for him to spend a huge sum of money to open the heaven-reaching tower. Half a day passed, and suddenly, the 42nd level of the pagoda shone with golden light. The expressions of countless life immortal old monsters changed. Even many perfected immortal old monsters were slightly shocked. 42nd floor. What kind of trump card did this kid use to be able to kill 2 gold men at the peak of the human profound realm? Could it be that this kid has finally used the god-blasting technique? On the 42nd floor of the heaven-reaching tower, Ning Fan's palm shone with dazzling golden light like a golden sun. The magic power that he had replenished just now was depleted once again. No one would have guessed that he had killed 2 peak human profound realm experts with a single palm strike. His heaven-seizing intent was indeed incomparable to the gold men. The heaven-seizing seal that he displayed was extremely powerful. Heaven-seizing intent. Ning Fan swallowed 2 golden Dao fruits and sat cross-legged on the 42nd floor. After consuming a pill, he rapidly recovered his magic power. He wanted to kill his way to a higher floor with the heaven-seizing intent. The difference between the human and ghost realms is a small realm while the life immortal realm is a huge realm. The difference between the early human profound realm and the peak ghost realm is just like the difference between the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm and the second heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. The human profound realm and the ghost profound realm are not 2 different levels. It is difficult for a void fragmentation realm expert to defeat a life immortal realm expert. Chapter 735. It was certainly a good thing for Ning Fan's magic power to increase tremendously. However, it also brought about a new problem. If he wanted to replenish his magic power by consuming 8 revolution pills, he would need to spend a lot more time than before. After sitting cross-legged on the 42nd floor for half a day, he finally replenished his magic power and entered the 43rd floor. Guarding the 43rd floor were 3 golden armored giants at the peak of the human profound realm. At the moment Ning Fan entered this floor, the 3 golden men attacked him forcefully, sending out 3 golden palm imprints. Ning Fan's eyes were extremely indifferent. It was as if the heavens and earth were not worth mentioning in front of him and the ancient world could not withstand a single blow. His state of mind gradually merged with the will of seizing the heavens. His gaze was as resplendent as the Big Dipper. On the 41st floor, Ning Fan had just comprehended the heaven-seizing seal. On the 42nd floor, Ning Fan used the heaven-seizing seal for the second time. Compared to the first time he used it, he was slightly more familiar with it. This floor was the 3rd time. He was slowly perfecting the palm print that he had comprehended with his own comprehension ability. His fingers moved like shadows, and in the blink of an eye, his palms had already condensed 7 layers of palm imprints, and the 7 imprints merged into one. The entire 43rd floor of the Golden Palace was suddenly filled with strange phenomena. The world turned into a dark night. In the dark night, 7 stars gradually rose, forming the Big Dipper. Duotian. At the moment when the 7 stars connected, Ning Fan sent out a palm imprint. All of his magic power was instantly sucked dry. A sky-blotting golden palm descended from the sky. The 3 golden armored giants and their palm imprints were all annihilated under the might of Ning Fan's palm. As for the dark night, the phenomenon of the 7 stars illuminating the world, it was slowly fading away. Where the 3 golden men perished, 3 golden fruits of the way slowly appeared. Ning Fan waved his palm and grabbed the Dao fruits. He consumed all 3 of them one by one and a few 8th revolution pills. Then, he sat down on the ground with his legs crossed and busied himself with recovering his magic power. His eyes revealed a trace of satisfaction. It's only the 3rd time I've used this technique, but I can already manifest the strange phenomenon of this technique. It seems like I'll be able to perfect this technique after a few more times. After displaying the strange phenomenon of the heaven-seizing seal, Ning Fan was already certain of 2 things. Firstly, the heaven-seizing seal that he had cultivated was only the initial seal formula, there were still subsequent seals that he needed to cultivate. Secondly, the level of the heaven-seizing seal's magical technique was very high. A divine ability that could manifest a phenomenon was at least an ancient realm magical technique. Half a day later, Ning Fan stepped into the 44th floor and killed 4 peak human profound realm experts with a single palm strike. After another half a day, Ning Fan passed the 45th floor. Another half a day passed, all the way to the 50th floor. Ning Fan looked at the teleportation formation leading to the 51st floor. His eyes flashed with determination and he stepped into the teleportation formation. On the 51st floor, there was a golden man at the early stage of the ghost mystic realm guarding it. Ning Fan's current magical power was comparable to a half-step late human profound realm cultivator. However, the heaven-seizing seal would still drain his mana in one fell swoop. Fortunately, the power of the palm print had increased at the same time, almost reaching the power of a late-stage ghost mystic. 51st floor, 52nd floor, 53rd floor. Ning Fan killed all the way to the 60th floor. His magic power was already comparable to a true late human profound realm cultivator. The power of the heaven-seizing seal was finally comparable to the full blow of a late ghost profound expert. The one guarding the 61st floor was a golden man at the middle stage of the ghost profound realm. With the current power of the heaven-seizing seal, it could at most kill 3 mid-ghost profound realm experts or severely injure a late ghost profound realm expert. If Ning Fan were to face 4 mid-ghost profound realm experts, he could kill 3 of them with a single palm strike. As for the last one, he would definitely not be able to defeat him with his own strength. Only by using immortal talismans, jade slips and formation discs would he have the power to fight against him. In half a day, he passed the 62nd floor. In another half a day, he passed the 63rd floor. In another half a day, Ning Fan stepped into the 64th floor after consuming quite a number of secret pills. Without any hesitation, Ning Fan raised his hand and killed 3 mid-ghost profound realm golden men with a single palm strike. Then, he immediately took out all of his immortal talismans, jade slips and formation discs. The remaining golden man was also extremely fast. He was only a moment slower than Ning Fan. His palm print had already arrived in front of Ning Fan. Fortunately, the formation discs had already been activated. Layers of formation light immediately rose and blocked most of the palm force from the golden man. The remaining golden palm prints shattered into specks of golden flowing light and pierced into Ning Fan's body like broken glass. Immediately, Ning Fan was severely injured. A mid-ghost profound realm expert was not someone Ning Fan could defeat in the first place. Even if it was just a mid-ghost profound realm palm strike, it was enough to severely injure Ning Fan. There was obviously a huge disparity between their strength, but the heaven-seizing seal gave Ning Fan the strength to kill 3 mid-ghost profound realm experts with a single palm strike. The heaven-seizing seal definitely has a great origin. Ning Fan muttered to himself. The immortal talismans and jade slips that filled the sky turned into profound mortal realm and profound ghost realm divine abilities that bombarded the golden men. In the end, the golden men perished. Ning Fan was left with the last attack jade slip in his hand. It was an early truth-crossing jade slip. He would not use the divine blast technique. Even though this jade slip was precious, it could still be used. He would just need to get another one if he has the chance. After consuming the 4 golden Dao fruits, Ning Fan consumed a large number of pills to recover his magic power and heal his injuries at the same time. After just one day, Ning Fan had barely recovered to his peak state and entered the 65th floor. On the 65th floor, there were a total of 5 golden men. As soon as he entered the 65th floor, Ning Fan took out the truth-crossing jade slip without hesitation and released an early truth-crossing magic technique, killing the 5 golden men in a single strike. After consuming the 5 golden Dao fruits, Ning Fan let out a soft sigh. The 65th floor was already his limit. His current magic power was already comparable to a mid-late profound mortal realm cultivator. It was impossible for him to pass the 66th floor with just the heaven-seizing seal. If he uses the divine blast technique, he was confident that he could reach the 69th floor. However, that was all. There were a total of 40 mid-profound ghost realm experts on the 66th floor. Even if he used the heaven-seizing seal and the divine blast technique, he would not be able to kill so many golden men. After all, there were only 146 life immortal realm primordial spirits in Ning Fan's soul pouch. If he used them together, he would be able to kill a mid-true crossing realm expert instantly. However, if he used them separately, he would not be able to kill too many profound ghost realm experts. Even if he used the divine blast technique, he would only be able to reach the 69th floor at most and pass 4 more floors. It was not worth it to use his strongest life-saving trump card just to pass 4 more floors. This floor is already my limit. If I continue to pass the 66th floor, I will only get injured in vain. It's impossible for me to pass it. My cultivation base is too low. Cultivators should be decisive and give up when they need to. Since I can't pass it, I don't have to force myself. Even though I don't have to continue to pass the tower, I want to know what exactly is at the top of this tower. Golden Dao fruits, 7 heaven-seizing seals. Perhaps there are some other opportunities hidden at the top of this tower. Ning Fan's eyes darkened. His people might not be able to go up to the 210th floor, but it did not mean that he could not see the scenery there. Every golden palace in the tower had the effect of isolating spirit sense. Even an ordinary immortal king would not be able to spy on the situation inside the tower from the outside. They would also not be able to see the scenery at the top of the tower from the bottom. Ning Fan gave it a try. Just when he wanted to send his spirit sense into the 66th floor, it was blocked by rays of golden light. He could not see what was inside. Ning Fan's eyes flickered. Gradually, his eyes were filled with heavenly green rain intent. He formed hand seals with all 10 of his fingers. All of a sudden, it began to rain on the 210th floor of the tower. Ning Fan's spirit sense blended into the rainwater, avoiding the rays of golden light and moving upwards. The 70th floor, the 80th floor, the 90th floor, he saw the true crossing realm golden men, the void-shedding realm golden men and the thought-shattering realm golden men. On the 210th floor, there were 10 peak thought-shattering realm golden men guarding it. Behind the 10 golden men, there was a gigantic blood jade stele. The stele was too ancient. The cultivation method of the 7 heaven-seizing seals was vaguely engraved on it. There was a great divine ability on the stele. With the level of Ning Fan's spirit sense, he could not see the specific content of the cultivation method at all. If I kill my way up to the 210th floor, I will be able to obtain the complete imprint of the 7 heaven-seizing seals, huh? Perhaps only those who have the strength to kill their way up to the 210th floor will be able to see the palm imprint cultivation method on the stele. Ning Fan sighed softly. It was impossible to secretly learn the 7 heaven-seizing seals. All of a sudden, Ning Fan's eyes flashed. Due to the age of the stele being too long ago, the protective ability of one of the inscriptions on the stele was almost gone. With Ning Fan's current cultivation base, he could barely see the content of the inscriptions. The Big Dipper dust tribulation, the broken soldiers turned into emperors, the sacred desolate heaven, the thought of seizing the heaven was born. The immortal sovereign had 3,000 imprints, comprehended the first 7 seals, refining the heaven into palms and turning palms into imprints. Sweeping away the purple immortal realm, defeating the North Emperor and finding it hard to defeat Mo Zhong. Abandoning the thought of seizing the heaven, he established the palace to slaughter, commanding the galaxy to guard the blood-descendant world. This passage was not the cultivation method of the heaven-seizing seals. Instead, it was an introduction to the origins of the heaven-seizing seals. Ning Fan read the passage over and over again. His eyes became more and more solemn. The Big Dipper dust tribulation. What does the Big Dipper refer to? 3,000 imprints of the immortal sovereign. Does the immortal sovereign refer to immortal sovereign Zido? This 7 heaven-seizing seals are the 7 forms of palm imprints extracted from the 3,000 imprints? The combination of the 3,000 imprints is the offensive ability of the immortal sovereign. Sweeping away the purple immortal realm, defeating the North Emperor and finding it hard to defeat Mo Zhong. This Mo Zhong sounds very familiar. Ning Fan's eyes moved. He had met Great Emperor Mo Zhong on the Devil Conferral Summit before. Is the Mo Zhong mentioned in this passage referring to Great Emperor Mo Zhong? Abandoning the thought of seizing the heaven, he established the palace to slaughter. After the person who wrote this passage was defeated by Great Emperor Mo Zhong, he abandoned the thought of seizing the heaven and established the slaughter palace? Could it be that the person who established this stele was the first killing emperor? Ning Fan muttered to himself. After dispersing the rain technique and withdrawing his spirit sense, Ning Fan remained silent for a long time. It was very difficult to obtain too much useful information with just a fragment of the inscription. Ning Fan believed that if he had enough cultivation base, he would certainly be able to pry into the secrets of the slaughter palace in the ancient times from this gigantic stele. Now, he could only make wild guesses based on the inscription. At the very least, he had already guessed that the 7 heaven-seizing seals had a great origin. It was a divine ability that was derived from the immortal sovereign's ability. He also guessed that the first killing emperor was a heaven-shaking figure. Even though he was defeated by immortal Emperor Mo Zhong, it was still not a trivial matter. After sweeping away all the distracting thoughts in his mind, Ning Fan calmly looked forward and said to the heaven-reaching tower. I give up on the 66th floor. As soon as he finished speaking, the heaven-reaching tower shone with a ray of golden light. It carried Ning Fan out of the tower. The moment Ning Fan appeared outside the Tong Tian Tower, all the old monsters in the area fixed their eyes on him. Putting aside those true immortal realm old monsters, those life immortal realm old monsters were looking at Ning Fan as if they were looking at a monster. The 65th floor. Ning Fan was just at the peak shattering realm, but he actually managed to reach the 65th floor. How could this be possible? Ning Fan only had 146 life immortal realm primordial spirits. If he uses them separately, these primordial spirits would not be enough for him to reach the 65th floor. From the 11th floor to the 65th floor, the number of life immortal realm primordial spirits that Ning Fan killed was more than 146. How could he possibly reach such a high floor with just the spirit blast technique? Little friend Ning, may I ask how many life immortal realm primordial spirits are left in your soul pouch? An old monster at the True Crossing realm who was sitting on the left side of the jade platform hesitated for a moment and asked with a frown. 146. Ning Fan patted his soul pouch and summoned 76,000 void fragmentation realm primordial spirits. Then, he summoned another 146 life immortal realm primordial spirits. Not a single primordial spirit was left in his hands. His spirit blast technique could still intimidate mid or even late True Crossing realm old monsters. The reason why he answered that old monster Duzhen's question and displayed countless primordial spirits in front of everyone was because he wanted to tell that old monster Duzhen. Don't think that you can attack him just because you have used up all your primordial spirits. That kind of action is just seeking your own death. What? This young man actually passed the 65th floor without using the spirit blast technique? How is this possible? Sun Yan's eyes were filled with astonishment. He could not close his mouth no matter how hard he tried. His cultivation base was at the mid-ghost profound realm. With his current strength, he could only pass the 62nd floor even if he used all his trump cards. Ning Fan was just a cultivator at the void-shattering realm. However, he actually made it to the 65th floor without using the spirit blast technique. What did this mean? It meant that Ning Fan, who was at the peak shattering realm, was stronger than him, Sun Nian, under the same conditions. Jin Guang, Gao Yuan and the other human profound realm cultivators were even more astonished. They could feel that Ning Fan's baleful qi had become much stronger after going through the baptism of slaughter in the heaven-reaching tower. His strength was also terrifyingly strong. Facing the current Ning Fan, Jin Guang and Gao Yuan actually had a feeling that they could not win against him. It was as if Ning Fan could crush them into ashes with just a single palm strike. Lu Xian's cheeks, which were already red, became even redder at this moment. The way she looked at Ning Fan became even more infatuated. She had never seen such a peerless man before. When he was at the peak shattering realm, he could already pass the 65th floor of the heaven-reaching tower and was the center of attention of tens of thousands of people. By the way, senior brother Sun, I've won the bet. You should return my quicksand pearl and pay me 1.5 billion Dao crystals. Lu Xian suddenly remembered that she seemed to have made a bet with Sun Yan and the others. She bet that Ning Fan could make it to the 30th floor. Today, not only did he make it to the 30th floor, but he also made it to the 65th floor. She had won the bet completely. Lu Xian turned around and was about to ask Sun Yan for the quicksand pearl and the Dao crystals that she had won. Only then did she realize that Sun Yan had already escaped to somewhere unknown. Sun Yan had obviously lost the bet, but he did not plan to give Lu Xian the Dao crystals. He did not even plan to return her quicksand pearl. All of a sudden, Lu Xian's eyes turned red from being wronged. She realized that she had been deceived by Sun Yan. Sun Yan had cheated her of her quicksand pearl. Yao Qingyun looked at Ning Fan calmly. However, under that calmness, there were countless surprises hidden within. She could never imagine that Ning Fan could achieve such an outstanding result when he was only at the peak shattering realm. Among the experts of the Slaughter Palace, none of them who could make it to the 65th floor had a cultivation base above the mid-ghost profound realm. When Ning Fan was at the peak shattering realm, he managed to make it to the floors that only mid-ghost profound realm cultivators could reach. If he had a mid-ghost profound realm cultivation base, how many floors would he be able to reach? He looked at Ning Fan with a gloomy expression. The greed in his eyes gradually became stronger. Perfect, perfect, perfect. At this moment, these two words were not the only thing that appeared in Fei's mind. The reason why he wanted to kill Yao Qingyun was not because he had a grudge against her but because of his greed. He didn't covet Yao Qingyun's looks, but covet her cultivation. He needed a medium to take away her cultivation base. Ning Fan was the most perfect medium for that. A corpse devil body that has completed the third corpse transformation realm. It's a flawless and perfect body. Besides, this young man is also a cultivator of the yin-yang transformation realm. His yin-yang plucking technique is certainly not weak. If I use this young man as a medium to carry out my plan on Yao Qingyun. Perfect. If my plan succeeds, I can at least break through to the mid-shedding void realm in one go. I even have a chance to break through to the late-shedding void realm. 76 people will advance to the next round. The rest will be decided by drawing lots. The third round of the competition will begin 10 days later. The immortal king of the Nether Sea transmitted his voice to Qian Tuzi, who was standing far away. Then, he chuckled and turned into a ray of traveling light and left. Before he left, he gave Ning Fan a meaningful look and transmitted his voice to him. Not bad. Ning Fan's eyes widened. He did not expect that he would actually receive a compliment from the immortal king of the Nether Sea. Qian Tuzi announced the results of the competition and decided the participants of the third round by drawing lots. Finally, he informed Ning Fan of the time and content of the third round. Ning Fan walked out of the Blood Palace and looked at the giant monument outside the palace. His score had changed from 4771200 points to 1427120 points. After just 2 rounds of the competition, his score had already reached 14.27 million points, which was equivalent to 14.27 million killing points and 142.7 billion Dao crystals. The second place was Qi Zhen with a score of 280,000 points. This lead was really not just a little bit. It was said that the number 1 cultivator in the previous competitions of the Slaughter Palace only had a score of around 600,000 to 700,000 points. 10 days later, the Blood Sea Sacrificial Altar, Ning Fan silently recited the venue of the third round of the competition. Holding the blood-red jade slip given by Qian Tuzi in his hand, his eyes showed a thoughtful expression. The content of the third round of the competition was really beyond his expectations. The third round of the competition was not dangerous nor difficult. The process was very simple, but it could easily determine the winner among the 100 participants. The third round of the competition was about the Dao Heart. Chapter 736. 10 days passed by in the blink of an eye. Today was the start of the third round of the competition. Today, the immortal king of the Dark Sea used his ability to make an altar that was buried under the inner city rise from the ground. It was the Huanqiu altar that was built by the first Sha Di. It had 3 floors and was paved with blood-patterned marble. At the center of the third floor of the altar, there was a huge stone tablet. It was 100,000 zhang tall and embedded with 10 million blood-red crystals that were the size of fingernails. The jade platforms on both sides of the altar were already filled with the old monsters of the eastern heaven. Under the altar, 100 participants were standing with Ning Fan as their leader. The third round tested the Dao Heart. The participants would climb up the altar and touch the stone tablet. They could use the baleful qi that they accumulated from killing to light up the blood-red crystals. During the process of lighting up the crystals, the participants would suffer from the baleful qi that was a few times more than their own. Those with weak Dao hearts would be devoured by the baleful qi. Those with strong Dao hearts could obtain different levels of baleful qi according to the number of crystals they lit up and the strength of their Dao hearts. The power of most of the abilities in the Slaughter Palace was related to the strength of their baleful qi. To the cultivators of the Slaughter Palace, the stronger their baleful qi, the stronger their abilities. The Blood Sea altar could increase their baleful qi. Generally speaking, it would only open once every 10,000 years. Those who want to use the altar to increase their baleful qi could spend a large amount of slaughter points and use the power of the altar to increase their baleful qi. Similar to the heaven-reaching tower, it would cost a lot of Dao crystals to increase the baleful qi of the altar. The more a cultivator increased their baleful qi, the more Dao crystals would be consumed. Besides, even if no one used the altar to increase their baleful qi, it would cost nearly 400 billion Dao crystals to activate the altar just once. The last time the Blood Sea altar was activated was 3,700 years ago. The other cultivators of the Slaughter Palace had to wait for another 6,300 years before they could use the power of the altar to increase their baleful chi. The immortal king of the Dark Sea is really generous. He actually activated the Blood Sea altar for a mere disciple recruitment ceremony. Last time, it was the heaven-reaching tower. This time, it's the Blood Sea altar. The immortal king of the Dark Sea seems to value the participants of this year's competition very much. It's no wonder that the immortal king of the Dark Sea values the participants of this year's competition. After all, there's a Ning fan. While some of the old monsters of the Dark Sea altar were discussing, the Blood Sea altar was Night's eyes. These old monsters looked in the direction of the voice, and their expressions changed. The one who coughed was the Dark Sea Celestial King. His brows furrowed slightly, and his gaze was slightly displeased. He didn't like being talked about behind his back. Seeing the displeasure of the immortal king of the Dark Sea, all the old monsters shut their mouths obediently, not daring to speak anymore. For a moment, the entire inner city was dead silent. One could hear a pin drop. "Thousand Slayers, announce the rules," the immortal king of the Dark Sea said calmly. "Yes." Qian Tuzi cupped his fists respectfully towards the immortal king of the Dark Sea. Then, he ordered someone to bring over a copper box and placed it in front of him. "Inside this copper box, there are your name tags. This old man will randomly draw a name tag. Whoever gets it will ascend the altar and light up the crystal with their baleful aura. If the participant's Tao heart is unstable and is devoured by the baleful aura, the result of this round will be 0. Every time a crystal is successfully lit, 1 point will be added to the score. After this round, the top 10 will advance to the 4th round. The results of the first 2 rounds could influence the 3rd round. Except for Ning Fan, everyone's score was 0 in the first round. In the second round, only 76 people had a score. The other 24 people who advanced by drawing lots still had 0 scores. It was unlikely that these people would be able to squeeze into the top 10. Ning Fan looked at the copper box. His eyes flashed slightly. The copper box had no openings on its 6 sides. Its surface was covered with sense isolation and teleportation formation runes, which could block spirit sense. The name tags could be randomly placed and sent out. Qian Tuzi patted the copper box. The runes on the box flashed and a name tag was sent out. The name tag floated in midair. After a breath, it turned into dust. The name tag was engraved with the words, "Ren Shao." "Ren Shao, ascend the altar." Under Qian Tuzi's order, a white-robed burly man with the cultivation base of a rogue immortal walked out of the crowd and ascended the altar step by step. His name was Ren Shao. He was born in a mid-grade cultivation star, the Devil Sea Star. He was considered a famous young devil in the Devil Sea Star region. He had killed many people in his life. His baleful aura was not weak at all. Ren Shao stopped below the giant monument and took a deep breath. The baleful aura around him spread out and he slammed his palm on the monument. All of a sudden, thousands of crystals on the monument lit up one after another. 3852 points, huh? Not bad. Unfortunately, this young man's Tao heart is too weak. Even though he has killed many people, he's not a good material to cultivate the Tao of slaughter. Qian Tuzi muttered to himself. As soon as his voice fell, a wave of baleful aura that was several times stronger than Ren Shao's gushed out from the giant monument. It turned into a blood-red light and drowned Ren Shao. Under the baleful aura, Ren Shao's eyes gradually turned red. He was invaded by the baleful aura. He felt a pain in his chest. He took a few steps back and knelt on the ground, coughing out blood continuously. After his palm left the giant monument, the baleful aura disappeared as well. Ren Shao looked at the giant monument with a bitter smile. He knew that he could not get 3,852 points. The number of points one got was related to the number of people they killed in their life. Not only did it depend on the number of people they killed, but it also depended on the difference in cultivation base between the person who killed and the person who was killed. If one often killed people who were at a higher level, their points would naturally be very high. If one slaughtered mortals with the cultivation base of a rogue immortal, they would not get any points even if they killed billions of people. Ignoring Ren Xiao, Qian Tuzi patted the bronze box again. He looked at the name tag that flew into the sky and said loudly. Next, Wang Yu. A skinny young man with the cultivation base of a rogue immortal climbed up the altar and pressed his palm on the giant monument. This person lit up a total of 4,274 crystals. Unfortunately, he could not withstand the baleful aura that came out of the giant monument either. This round's score was 0, Lu Jia. Ding Feng. Bai Hong. None of the 35 rogue immortals could withstand the baleful aura that came back from the giant monument. All of them got 0 points for this round. The 36th person who climbed up the altar was a young scholar. After he climbed up the altar, he did not release all of his baleful aura. He only released a little of it to light up 1,000 crystals. It was not that he could not light up more, but if he did, he was afraid that he would not be able to withstand the baleful aura backlash. If he released less baleful aura, the baleful aura backlash would be within his tolerance range. This kid is smart. He knows how to choose. 1,000 points is not much, but it's better than 0. Qian Tuzi nodded and patted the bronze box again. He took out the next token and asked someone to climb up the altar. With the young scholar as a precedent, many participants followed suit and did not release all of their baleful aura. As a result, some of them lit up 1,200 crystals, some lit up 800 crystals and some lit up 1,500 crystals. Most of them had obtained points. Even though the points were not much, they were much better than those who got 0 points earlier. However, this was the opposite of the purpose of the existence of the Blood Sea altar. Ning Fan looked at the participants indifferently. These people were already prepared to use tricks before they climbed up the altar. That was why they were afraid. Besides, what they were afraid of was the baleful aura that they had accumulated from the killings that they had committed. Even if they entered the slaughter palace by using tricks, what kind of future would they have if they were scared before the battle? Those who were scared before the battle would naturally not have a strong Dao heart. Those who did not dare to face their sins would naturally not have a strong Dao heart. Ning Fan opened his palm and looked at his fair and clean palm with a frown. Although his palm looked clean, it was already stained with blood and sins. Along the way, he had traversed too many seas of blood and committed too many murders. He had never run away from the sins that he had committed. He would not accuse someone of another crime after killing them so that he could feel at ease. He killed not because of evil. He did not kill not because of kindness. The helplessness in this world could not be explained by a single word. As a cultivator, once they embark on the path of cultivation, they must be prepared to kill or be killed. Next, Yu Kun. Next, Zhao Qing. Next, Qi Zhen. Next, Ning Fan. Ning Fan looked at his palm. Scenes of blood and vengeance reverberated in his mind. He had forgotten to look at the results of the others. When he woke up, he realized that it was already his turn. Yu Kun and Qi Zhen who were standing beside him smiled bitterly. I have lit up 12,490 crystals while Brother Yu has lit up 9,455 crystals. Qi Zhen explained as if he knew that Ning Fan was absent-minded and did not pay attention to their results. Both of them exerted their full strength and released all of their baleful qi. In the end, they withstood the backlash of their baleful qi. Their Dao hearts were not weak. They were the best of the best. Unfortunately, they encountered Ning Fan in this grand competition. In the end, they did not have the chance to join the slaughter palace. Brother Ning, I hope you can surprise me again. Yu Kun persuaded. I didn't go up the altar to light up the crystals. The purpose of this altar is not to light up the crystals. Ning Fan's eyes were sometimes clear and sometimes blank. Gradually, he sensed a sorrowful atmosphere from the altar of the Blood Sea. Only a few people could feel this sadness. Only cultivators who had faced massacres for a long time and were physically and mentally exhausted but had no choice but to fight could feel this sadness. Step by step, Ning Fan walked up the altar. He stood under the giant monument and closed his eyes. He did not reach out his hand to touch the monument. He stood there for an entire day. In his mind, scenes of massacres replayed one after another. He stood on top of the altar for an entire day. It was as if he had become one with the altar. Strange. Why didn't this Ning Fan light up the crystals? What is he doing? Countless Eastern Heaven's life immortals were puzzled. Only the old monsters above the true immortal realm could faintly see that there was a natural Tao essence gradually solidifying in Ning Fan's body. Only a few of the higher-ups of the Slaughter Palace knew that Ning Fan was doing something that few people could do. Fei He's eyes widened like a camel's bell. He was extremely excited because he saw a more perfect Ning Fan. Yao Qingyun looked at Ning Fan in disbelief. She gritted her teeth. There was only one sentence that kept repeating in her mind. Stripping karma. He can really do it. The Great Elder guessed it right. Even the elders of the Slaughter Palace can't do it. How can he do it? The immortal king of the Dark Sea's eyes suddenly turned solemn. He did not hesitate to spend a huge amount of money to activate the Blood Sea altar just to see the scene of Ning Fan stripping karma. No, not only did he want to see Ning Fan stripping karma, he also wanted to see another interesting thing. Except for the past Slaughter Emperors and the Great Elder, no one knew about it. That thing was even more difficult than stripping karma. What the immortal king of the Dark Sea wanted to see was that scene. If he can really do it, our Slaughter Palace won't seal the blood world and disappear from the Eastern Heaven. There is still a possibility of continuation. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, Ning Fan stood on top of the altar for 10 days straight. Even though he had his eyes closed, he could feel the sadness of the entire Slaughter City, the entire Blood Sea Star and the entire Blood Sea Star region. That sadness was the helpless sigh of a person who could not turn back after entering the cultivation world. That sadness was the self-reflection of entering the Blood Sea and falling into the Devil Tao forever. Ning Fan could vaguely feel that there was an entrance on the Blood Sea Star that led to a medium-class world. That medium-class world was the Slaughter Blood world. There were cultivators and mortals in the Slaughter Blood world. Mortals and cultivators lived in the same world and rarely had conflicts between them. It was as if there was a voice telling Ning Fan that the existence of the Slaughter Palace was to protect the descendants of the Blood world. In order to protect the descendants of the Blood world, the Slaughter Palace was created. No one wanted to be a devil the moment they were born. No one wanted to kill the world and dye the world red with blood. No one wanted to join the Slaughter Palace and become a devil assassin who killed people like flax. In order to protect the Blood world, the cultivators of the Slaughter Palace killed people like flax. This altar was not only to increase the baleful chi of the cultivators of the Slaughter Palace, but also to help them free themselves from karma and wash away their sins. The altar was not worshipping the heavens nor the earth. It was worshipping the dead souls that the cultivators of the Slaughter Palace had killed in their lives. All grudges would end with death, vanishing like clouds and smoke. Finally, Ning Fan opened his eyes. His eyes were as clear and bright as the Big Dipper stars. At this moment, he felt as if he had become one with the altar. He spread his palms and felt that he had an indescribable mysterious ability at this moment. All of a sudden, a mighty force of a great ability spread out from the altar and supported Ning Fan. Suddenly, Ning Fan realized that he had become shorter and his appearance had become weaker. He had returned to his youthful appearance. His cultivation base also seemed to have disappeared in an instant. However, he did not panic at all. His eyes were still calm, as if he knew what was going to happen next. He looked at the giant monument quietly. After a long time, a few blood-red figures of vein-opening realm youths walked out from the monument. Most of them were at the 2nd or 3rd level of the vein-opening realm. The leader of the group was called Ning Feng. His cultivation base was at the 4th level of the vein-opening realm. Ning Feng and the others once wanted to peek at Ning Qingqing when she was bathing and wanted to do something to her. However, they were lured into a pack of wolves by Ning Fan and died in the mouths of those wolves. Speaking of which, that was the first time Ning Fan killed a cultivator with his mortal body. The few youths looked at the young Ning Fan with resentment in their eyes. The young Ning Fan raised his finger and pointed at them. They immediately turned into blood-red light and entered his body. You all chased after me and I caused you to die in the hands of a pack of wolves. The grudges in the past shall be written off. The old monsters in this place gradually regained their senses. They did not know that Ning Fan was stripping away karma and cleansing his sins. They could only faintly see that the scene on the altar represented the fact that Ning Fan had killed a cultivator with his mortal body. A mortal killing a cultivator. This child has not entered the path of cultivation, but he is already so ruthless. A few old monsters exclaimed. Who was not weak? Who did not cultivate step by step from a mortal body? There were countless experts in this place, but no one could kill a cultivator with their mortal body. From this point of view, Ning Fan was already very extraordinary when he started as a mortal. The light on the altar flashed. Ning Fan's body became slightly taller and his cultivation base also increased to the 5th level of the vein opening realm. A harmonious spirit realm cultivator in a black robe walked out from the giant monument. He was the elder of the Heaven Separation sect, Wu Dongnan. A 5th level vein opening realm cultivator killing a harmonious spirit realm cultivator. This time, many old monsters were surprised. Ning Fan used his mortal body to kill a vein opening realm cultivator and a vein opening realm cultivator to kill a harmonious spirit realm cultivator. Could it be that he had been killing people who were at a higher level than him all this time? Wu Dongnan's blood shadow looked at Ning Fan with resentment and fear in his eyes. The grudge between you and me is over. You, disperse. Ning Fan pointed his finger and the blood shadow immediately turned into flowing blood light and entered Ning Fan's body. The light on the altar flashed. Young Ning Fan's body became slightly taller. His cultivation base was now at the early harmonious spirit realm. This time, countless blood shadows of the Heaven Separation sect cultivators flew out from the giant monument. Among them, there was no lack of gold cores. These cultivators all died under the grand formation of mountains and rivers reversal. A harmonious spirit realm cultivator killed a gold core, and not just one gold core. More and more old monsters were surprised. The blood shadows of the Heaven Separation sect were not all. Ning Fan's slaughter when he was at the harmonious spirit realm was not a small number. Countless blood shadows of the ghost cultivators of the demon sinister forest flew out from the giant monument. Countless blood shadows of the demonic beasts also flew out from the giant monument. Among these blood shadows, there were countless gold cores and even nascent souls. This child actually killed a nascent soul realm cultivator when he was at the harmonious spirit realm. A few old monsters were surprised. The grudge of the past is over. As the young Ning Fan pointed his finger at them, countless blood shadows exploded into rays of blood light and entered his body. After a flash, the young Ning Fan had turned into a young man and his cultivation base was at the nascent soul realm. Countless nascent soul realm cultivators of the endless sea flew out from the giant monument. There were even divine transformation realm cultivators. There were divine transformation realm cultivators of the Black Buddha sect and the 9 divisions of the Lu clan. There were also countless blood shadows of fake wild beasts. A nascent soul realm cultivator killed a divine transformation realm cultivator and slaughtered wild beasts. Moreover, he actually killed so many of them. Gasps of astonishment could be heard from the 2 jade platforms. All of you, disperse. As the young Ning Fan pointed his finger, countless blood shadows that had died long ago shattered into blood light and entered his body. His baleful chi became denser and denser. The altar flashed again. Ning Fan's cultivation base was at the divine transformation realm. When he was at the divine transformation realm, he swept across the 9 divisions under the name of Liu Bei and massacred everyone in the endless sea under the name of Zhou Ming. Blood shadows of experts kept flying out from the giant monument, filling up the sky. The karma of the past shall be settled today. Disperse. Ning Fan suddenly flicked his sleeve. Countless blood shadows scattered into blood-red light and entered his body like specks of stars. The altar flashed again. Ning Fan's cultivation base was at the Void Refinement Realm. When he was at the Void Refinement Realm, he fought a bloody battle against 100 sects, swept through the Heavenly Cloud Realm, overturned the Vine Palace, annihilated the Puppet Emperor, killed the Rain Sovereign and the Cloud-slaughtering Lion. When Void Fragmentation Realm blood shadows with powerful auras walked out from the giant monument, countless old monsters wore solemn expressions. Finally, the altar flashed again and Ning Fan regained his peak Fragmentation Realm cultivation base. Countless Void Fragmentation Realm and Life Immortal blood shadows walked out from the giant monument. Among them, there were 146 Life Immortals from the Yao Sect Star region and even the Pill Sect Life Immortals. The expressions of some old monsters changed. They finally understood why Ning Fan dared to put a bounty on the sect master of the Pill Sect. It turned out that Ning Fan had long been at odds with the Pill Sect. There were too many blood shadows. No one could see everyone's appearance one by one. Yao Qingyun looked at the blood shadows of all the cultivators of the Yao family and closed her eyes bitterly. Clear tears flowed out from her eyes. Yao family, rest in peace. From now on, we don't owe each other anything. Ning Fan looked at each and every one of the blood shadows whose expressions were either shocked or enraged. His eyes remained as calm as water and as cold as starlight. My life is a life of slaughter. It has nothing to do with right or wrong. The people I kill may be innocent but I can't do anything about it. There is no room for mercy in this path of cultivation. Disperse. Ning Fan raised his finger and pointed at them. One by one, the experts of the Yao family turned into blood light and disappeared. The blood shadows of the other experts also dispersed. Countless traces of blood light entered Ning Fan's body. All the blood shadows disappeared. Ning Fan did not say anything. He just patted his storage pouch and took out a wine jar. Then, he poured the top-grade spiritual wine under the giant monument. There was no sorrow, only solemnity. At this moment, he was not paying tribute to his enemies. Instead, he was paying tribute to the fallen cultivators who had helplessly died in the cultivation world as a cultivator. Then, he smashed the wine jar with a palm strike. Ning Fan suddenly took a step forward. His baleful chi soared to the sky. Blood light dyed the sky red. Then, he slammed his palm on the giant monument. All of a sudden, 790,000 crystals lit up on the monument. At the same time, more than 10 times of Ning Fan's baleful chi was repelled from the monument. It turned into a giant blood-red fist and landed on Ning Fan's chest. Ning Fan's black hair danced wildly. His eyes were like that of a devil. He opened his mouth and swallowed the fist shadow. He did not suffer any backlash. This was his baleful chi. This was his killing intent. He did not run away nor did he avoid it. He just faced it calmly. The moment he swallowed the fist shadow, the baleful chi in Ning Fan's body increased by more than 10 times. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with determination. Then, he slammed his palm on the giant monument again. This time, all 10 million blood-red crystals lit up. A ray of blood-red treasure light suddenly soared to the sky and entered Ning Fan's storage pouch at an extremely fast speed. That is. The immortal king of the dark sea's eyes showed surprise for the first time. Chapter 737. Almost everyone saw the treasure light. However, other than the Nether Sea immortal king, no one else could see what was inside the treasure light. The others could not even sense the grade of the treasure. They could only vaguely guess that Ning Fan had obtained some kind of extra reward after lighting up the 10 million crystals on the monument. The item that this young man obtained is probably a treasure with a high grade. It's at least a peak immortal treasure. It might even be a low nirvana acquired heavenly treasure. Some old monsters guessed. Ning Fan withdrew his palm and stood quietly in front of the monument. His expression was still as calm as an ancient well, but his heart was filled with turbulent waves. He walked down the altar and left it for others to use. Soon, all the participants had finished participating in the competition. Standing below the altar, Ning Fan scanned his storage pouch with his spirit sense. His heart still could not calm down. The treasure light that shot into his storage pouch was actually an extraordinary item. It was a silver-colored mask with a ferocious appearance like an evil ghost. The mask contained a vast amount of power and boundless mystique. This was a spiritual equipment, a Khanate spiritual equipment. It was a spiritual equipment that was nurtured by heaven and earth. It was not something that could be forged by humans. Only eternal ancient realm cultivators were qualified to refine an innate spiritual equipment into their body. Each of the innate spiritual equipment possessed heaven-shaking abilities. Innate spiritual equipment was much rarer than innate magical treasures. Naturally, it was countless times rarer than the innate purple gourd in the profound Een world. If this item is exposed to the old monsters of the eastern sky, Ning Fan could imagine how many eternal ancient realm old monsters would come to him for it. Compared to magical treasures, spiritual equipment had two advantages and one disadvantage. The disadvantage was that most of the spiritual equipment was used as support. Very few of them had great destructive power. As for the advantages, firstly, using a spiritual equipment did not require any magic power. Secondly, once the grade of the spiritual equipment reaches a certain level, once it recognizes its master and refines it into the body, it would be impossible to snatch it away. When the master dies, the spiritual equipment would perish along with him. It was much more loyal than magical treasures, unlike magical treasures which could change owners after their master dies. Ning Fan had mixed feelings about obtaining this innate ghost mask for free. He was happy because this treasure was listed as an innate treasure. If he could refine it, his strength would certainly increase tremendously. He was worried because he obtained this treasure in public. There were countless experts present. Many of them could tell that this ghost mask was an innate spiritual equipment. If someone sees clearly that the treasure I've obtained is an innate spirit equipment, I'm afraid it won't take long for a disaster to befall me. Ning Fan's brows were tightly knitted together. If someone else sees this item, he would rather hand it over to protect himself than offend countless old monsters at the eternal ancient realm of the eastern heaven for this innate spiritual equipment. Of course, if he could refine this spirit equipment into his body before the 10,000 ancient realm monsters came knocking on his door, he would be able to dispel the covetous thoughts of others. After all, high-grade spiritual equipment that had acknowledged its master couldn't be seized. However, this was an innate spiritual equipment. Even though Ning Fan was the ancestor of the Fu Li sect and he had a spirit inside his body, it was still very difficult for him to make such a high-grade spiritual equipment acknowledge him as its master. While Ning Fan was deep in thought, an old but kind voice suddenly entered his ears. It was the voice of the Nether Sea Immortal King. Don't worry, little friend. I'm the only one here who can see the Khanate ghost mask. In fact, the moment this treasure appeared, only immortal emperors could see it clearly. Even with my cultivation base, I can barely see the outline of the Khanate ghost mask. Don't worry. Since you've obtained this ghost mask, it's your fate. I won't take it away from you and I won't allow anyone to do so. You can refine it without worry. The fourth round will be your chance to refine the ghost mask. Ning Fan's expression changed slightly. He looked at the Nether Sea Immortal King's direction and saw the latter's satisfied smile. This time, he could even see the Nether Sea Immortal King's appearance clearly. It was a handsome white-haired young man. Of course, that was just his appearance. It was not the Nether Sea Immortal King's real age. Since the Nether Sea Immortal King was willing to let Ning Fan see his appearance, Ning Fan was qualified to do so. With the Nether Sea Immortal King's cultivation base, if he wants to seize my innate spiritual equipment, there's no need to talk so much nonsense. He could just attack me forcefully. How can I refuse? Since he said that he won't take my ghost mask, he definitely won't. Besides, he's the great elder of the Killing Palace and has an Immortal King realm cultivation base. Perhaps he also has an innate ghost mask. That's why he doesn't like my ghost mask. Ning Fan recalled Wu Chen and the other ghost-masked assassins and thought that most of the elders of the Killing Palace had their own ghost masks. For experts like the Nether Sea Immortal King, their ghost masks were mostly of the innate grade. This time, Ning Fan's guess was wrong. In the Killing Palace, every cultivator on the Shikong realm had a ghost mask. Most of the cultivators in the Duzhen realm also had a ghost mask spiritual equipment. However, other than the slaughter emperors of the past, no one else could have an innate ghost mask. This innate ghost mask was a secret treasure. It was also a symbol of one's identity. The Nether Sea Immortal King did not tell Ning Fan about this. Thus, Ning Fan did not know about it for the time being. The Nether Sea Immortal King did not tell Ning Fan that the last time someone obtained the recognition of the Blood Sea Altar and was given an innate spiritual equipment was more than 6 million years ago. At that time, there was an elder of the Killing Palace called Fu Linglong. She obtained the recognition of the altar by chance and obtained an innate ghost mask. Later on, Fu Linglong died. Her innate ghost mask self-destructed at the same time when she died and her elder token was lost. Fu Linglong was once the hope of the Killing Palace. However, she failed to break through to the eternal ancient realm and died. After 6 million years, another young emperor has finally appeared in this world. However, this young emperor has come too late. Venerated sovereigns don't have much time left. I wonder if we can avoid this calamity of the blood world. If the descendants of the Big Dipper race can survive. Feeling worried, the Nether Sea Immortal King stopped smiling. He slowly stood up and said with a serious expression. The third round of the grand competition has ended. Quickly record the results. The fourth round will begin in 2 hours. The venue of the grand competition has been changed to the Blood Prison. The 10 participants will choose a cell of their own in the Blood Prison and enter seclusion. For every day that they stay in the Blood Prison, their score will increase by 100,000 points. There is a limit to the number of points you can get in this round. You can only get 3 million points at most. Elders, quickly follow me to seal the Blood Sea Altar and lift the seal on the Blood Prison. As soon as he finished speaking, the Nether Sea Immortal King immediately led the other 22 elders to seal the Blood Sea Altar again. Then, they rushed to a blood valley not far away from the Killing City. The blood valley was empty. The sky was filled with blood mist. Outside the valley, there were countless experts of the Slaughter Palace guarding it. When the Nether Sea Immortal King arrived, all of them acted at the same time. Gradually, an oval-shaped blood-red light gate appeared out of nowhere in the empty blood valley. That light gate led directly to the Blood Prison. I didn't expect the fourth round of the grand competition to be held in the Blood Prison. Moreover, the interval between the fourth and the third round is only 2 hours. The Blood Prison is the place where the traitors of the Slaughter Palace are imprisoned. The intensity of the baleful chi inside is not something that ordinary people can withstand. Even some of the true Crossing Realm true immortals of the Slaughter Palace don't dare to stay in there for more than 10 days. As for the life immortals of the Slaughter Palace, they can forget about staying in there for a day. As for the Void Fragmentation Realm. I'm afraid they can't even enter the gate of the Blood Prison. Ning Fan scanned the blood steel with his spirit sense. His score had already reached 27 million points. He did not even bother to look at the remaining points. He casually sat cross-legged on the ground to calm the rising baleful chi in his body. After experiencing the massacre in the Yaosek Star region, his baleful chi was enough to deter peak Ghost Profound Realm cultivators. Now that his baleful chi had increased by more than 10 times, even mid- and late True Crossing Realm cultivators would be slightly intimidated by his baleful chi. As for ordinary Profound Realm cultivators, they probably could not even withstand a single glance from Ning Fan. 2 hours passed quickly. Such a short period of time was only enough for Ning Fan to slightly stabilize his baleful chi. Qian Tuzi and the others received the Nether Sea Immortal King's order to bring Ning Fan and the other 9 participants to the Blood Valley where the Blood Prison was located. As for the old monsters of the Eastern Sky who came to watch the competition, they hurried to the outside of the Blood Valley. They did not dare to enter the Blood Valley without permission and only watched the competition from the outside. The Blood Prison was an important place for the Slaughter Palace. Without the permission of the Slaughter Palace, outsiders were not allowed to step into the Blood Valley, let alone enter the Blood Prison. Otherwise, they would be killed without mercy. Other than Ning Fan, Qi Zhen, and Yu Kun, the rest of the participants were all rogue immortals. Moreover, they were the kind of rogue immortals who could fight early Profound Realm experts. The rules had already been announced by the Nether Sea Immortal King himself. There was no need for Qian Tuzi to mention it again. However, regarding the specific situation in the Blood Prison, Qian Tuzi still had to mention it. Looking at the 10 participants, Qian Tuzi revealed a serious expression that he had never shown before. He said, "The Blood Prison is an important place. There are 7 floors in total. Some of the cells contain the traitors of the Slaughter Palace and are tightly sealed. You can neither enter nor spy on them. Once you spy on them, you'll have to bear the consequences. As for the other empty cells, you can freely choose to use them for your secluded cultivation. Enter the Blood Prison." Under Qian Tuzi's order, Ning Fan and the other 9 participants stepped into the oval door of light. Inside the door was the first floor of the Blood Prison. The baleful qi there was terrifying. Even an early Profound Realm cultivator would find it hard to endure. Among the 10 participants, 5 of them were immediately invaded by the baleful qi and fainted outside the door. Carry them away. Under Qian Tuzi's order, the cultivators of the Slaughter Palace carried the 5 unconscious participants away. These 5 people naturally did not have any results in this round. Try to refine the ghost face in the Blood Prison. While Ning Fan was walking on the first floor of the Blood Prison, the voice of the Nether Sea Immortal King echoed in his sea of consciousness. The sound of water dripping could be heard from time to time on the dark and damp stone path. On both sides of the path were blood jade cells. Some of them were empty while some of them were tightly sealed with the prisoners of the Slaughter Palace. Ning Fan did not have the intention to spy on these prisoners. He did not want to cause any trouble. He just wanted to find a place with strong baleful qi to refine the Ghost Face spiritual equipment. The Ghost Face spiritual equipment was an innate spiritual equipment. Its baleful qi was extremely strong. The reason why the Nether Sea Immortal King changed the location of the 4th round to the Blood Prison was because he wanted to use the boundless baleful qi of the Blood Prison to help Ning Fan refine the Ghost Face. Ning Fan did not believe that the Nether Sea Immortal King would be so kind to help avoid Fragmentation Realm Jr. He believed that the Nether Sea Immortal King must have a purpose for helping him refine the Ghost Face. As for what the Nether Sea Immortal King's purpose was, Ning Fan did not know. To Ning Fan, it was indeed better to refine the Ghost Face. He had checked it repeatedly with his spirit sense. This Ghost Face had not been tampered with. As such, refining an innate spiritual equipment would only bring him benefits and no harm. The only thing he could do now was to take one step at a time. He would first refine the spiritual equipment and improve his strength. However, there was one thing that he still could not figure out. Why was the Nether Sea Immortal King so sure that a mere void fragmentation realm cultivator like him could refine the innate spiritual equipment? Only eternal ancient realm cultivators would be able to refine an innate spiritual equipment. Could it be that the Nether Sea Deity King has found out that I have a spirit in my body and can refine spiritual equipment beyond my cultivation level? Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. Well, it made sense. He was just a first-step Immortal King, whereas the Immortal King of the Nether Sea was an Immortal King who had undergone the 5th tribulation of the ancient times. In front of the Nether Sea, he had almost no secrets to hide. Fu Li ancestral blood, Mo Luo ancestral blood, Rain lineage divine blood. Perhaps everything about him had been exposed to the Nether Sea Immortal King. The Ghost Face spirit equipment was a type of spirit equipment that concealed one's aura, shielded one's senses, and isolated the secrets of the heavens. The innate ghost mask was even more powerful. It might be able to block the divination and prying of immortal kings or even immortal emperors. With this thought in mind, Ning Fan's determination to refine the innate ghost mask became stronger. He had a lot of secrets on his body, and there were too many powerhouses in Eastern Sky. Today, the Nether Sea Immortal King saw through his secrets. In the future, who knows who will see through his secrets? If he could refine the innate ghost mask, it would be much safer for him to travel in the four heavens. Since he had a spirit in his body, he was qualified to refine the innate ghost mask. However, in order to truly refine it, he would need to find a place with strong baleful chi and suppress it with baleful chi to reduce the difficulty of refining it. The first level of the blood prison was used to imprison prisoners at the first step of Tao cultivation. The baleful chi here was only enough to scare ordinary profound Xian cultivators. It was not enough to help Ning Fan refine the innate ghost mask. Ning Fan walked towards the end of the blood prison. At the end of the prison, there was a staircase that led to the underground. It must be the second level of the blood prison. Cough cough. Brother Ning wants to go to the second level of the blood prison. Qi Zhen and the others who had been following behind Ning Fan looked at him with a bitter smile. Even though they were just standing at the entrance of the staircase, they could feel the terrifying baleful qi in the second level. Even Qi Zhen did not dare to touch the baleful qi in the second level. The four of you will stay in the first level. Ning Fan was not interested in the four participants behind him. He walked all the way down to the second level of the blood prison. Even ordinary early ghost profound realm experts would find it hard to endure the baleful qi in the second level of the blood prison. Qi Zhen and Yu Kun glanced at each other before shaking their heads in self-ridicule. Each of them found an empty cell on the first floor and went into seclusion. The other two itinerant immortals endured the pain of being devoured by the baleful aura. They gritted their teeth and searched for an empty cell on the first floor. The two of them had only been in closed-door cultivation for 2 hours before they were unable to endure the baleful energy in this place, and they had no choice but to leave the blood prison and give up on the fourth round of the competition. Yu Kun persisted in the first floor for a day while Qi Zhen persisted for 2 days. Eventually, all of them left the blood prison except for Ning Fan. Ning Fan was the only one who stayed in the blood prison for a long time. Even an ordinary Du Zhen would not dare to enter the third floor of the blood prison. The baleful qi in this place was still not enough to affect his body and mind. In the fourth level of the blood prison, the baleful aura was strong enough to intimidate ordinary Shi Kong. The baleful aura here was even stronger than Yao Qingyun's. Even Ning Fan found it hard to endure the baleful qi in this place. When he first entered the blood sea star, Yao Qingyun's baleful qi had easily devoured his body. Now, his baleful qi had greatly increased. Even though it was still inferior to Yao Qingyun's, the gap between them was no longer as huge as before. Traces of blood red appeared in Ning Fan's eyes. He bit the tip of his tongue and forcefully suppressed the baleful qi that was invading his body, keeping himself awake. He did not continue to go down. The baleful qi in the fourth floor was already so powerful. The baleful qi in the fifth floor was definitely not something that he could resist. He found a cell on the fourth floor and sat cross-legged on the ground. Then, he patted his storage pouch and took out the silver ghost mask. The ghost mask was cold to the touch. It was a bone-piercing cold. The moment he held the ghost mask, his palm began to freeze. Blood-red ice crystals began to form on it. What a cold baleful qi! Ning Fan tried to melt the blood-red ice crystals with his yin-yang flame. However, he realized that he could not do it at all. This blood-red ice was not ice of the water element. It could not be melted by the power of the 5 elements. So I can only resist it with baleful qi. Ning Fan closed his eyes and calmed himself. Traces of earth baleful qi flowed from his body to his right arm. Gradually, his frozen right arm began to melt. Ning Fan heaved a sigh of relief and looked at the silver ghost mask. His eyes became more and more solemn. He had to use all of his strength just to touch this spiritual equipment. The difficulty of refining this spiritual equipment was probably far beyond his expectation. The purple star in his left eye flashed. A vast and mighty ancestral demon aura spread out from his body. He had the ancestral bloodline of the Fu Li clan. His bloodline had a spirit. At the moment when the ancestral aura of the Fu Li clan spread out, the innate ghost mask trembled slightly. The coldness lessened and it seemed to have become much more docile. Ning Fan took a deep breath. He used the baleful chi in the fourth floor to suppress the ghost mask and the bloodline of the Fuli clan to raise his hand and put the ghost mask on his face. All of a sudden, an unimaginable blood-red cold chi spread out from Ning Fan's body and spread to the entire fourth floor of the blood prison. The fourth floor of the blood prison turned into a world of ice in an instant. Every corner was sealed by blood-red ice. Those who were imprisoned in the fourth floor of the blood prison were the true immortals of the Slaughter Palace who had committed serious crimes and had their cultivation base crippled. Even though their cultivation base was crippled, their baleful chi was still present. Even though the cells were protected by various seals, they could still vaguely feel the extremely terrifying baleful chi outside the cells. It was as cold as ice and impossible to resist. What kind of baleful chi is this? How could it be so cold? It can actually penetrate the seals of the blood prison and pierce into the cells. Each of the true immortal prisoners who were restrained by the blood-red chains had a drastic change of expression. They had never seen such terrifying baleful chi in their lives. Perhaps only Lord Shadi could possess such terrifying baleful chi. At the moment when he put on the ghost mask, his eyes turned blood-red. He stood up abruptly and his black hair danced wildly in the air. As the baleful chi spread, the dancing black hair eventually turned into a head of dazzling silver hair. Chapter 738. As the baleful chi spread, his black hair that was dancing wildly in the wind eventually turned into a head of bright silver hair. His clothes were as white as snow and he wore a silver ghost mask. His silver hair danced wildly and his blood-red eyes were filled with boundless baleful chi. At this moment, Ning Fan was enduring endless pain. He felt that his body and mind were about to be corroded by the baleful chi of the ghost mask and he was about to sink into oblivion. His baleful chi could not suppress the ghost mask at all. Without any hesitation, Ning Fan turned into a ray of light and flew towards the fifth level of the blood prison. Even ordinary thought-breaking old monsters would not dare to enter the fifth level of the blood prison. The baleful chi here was strong enough to suffocate Ning Fan. The stench of blood here was enough to make Ning Fan vomit. Ning Fan gritted his teeth and tried to use the baleful chi here to suppress the ghost mask. However, he helplessly realized that even the baleful chi here was not enough to suppress the ghost mask. So, I can only go to the sixth level. Ning Fan gritted his teeth and flew towards the sixth level. In the fifth level, anyone who flew out of it would be frozen and sealed in ice. The prisoners in the fifth level were shocked. Has Shadi arrived at the blood prison? The prisoners on the sixth floor were all thoughts-shattering old monsters. The baleful chi in this level was something that even the ancient immortal venerables could not endure. One must at least be an immortal king in order to walk in the sixth level of the blood prison. The baleful chi in the sixth level could easily make Ning Fan lose his mind. The baleful chi of the silver ghost mask was also enough to make him lose his mind forever. The two different kinds of baleful chi suppressed each other. The pain in Ning Fan's body gradually disappeared and his eyes became clear. Even though his eyes were still blood-red, he did not lose his original mind. Without the baleful chi here to help me suppress the baleful chi of the ghost mask, I certainly wouldn't be able to successfully refine the ghost mask. In order to help me refine the ghost mask, the immortal king of the Nether Sea specially opened the blood prison. If his motive isn't to harm me, I will owe him a favor. Ning Fan found a cell in the sixth level of the blood prison and sat cross-legged on the ground. He then began to refine the ghost mask into his body bit by bit. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, a month had passed and Ning Fan still had not left the blood prison. The entire sixth level of the blood prison had long been frozen by the cold baleful chi. The few prisoners in the sixth level could vaguely feel that there was a peerless expert releasing baleful chi here. They thought that it was Shadi. 1 month later, Ning Fan finally refined the innate ghost face completely. Ning Fan slowly stood up and waved his hand to wipe the ghost mask on his face. The ghost mask immediately turned into specks of silver light and disappeared, revealing Ning Fan's handsome face. The moment he put away the ghost mask, his blood-red eyes turned back into black eyes, and his silver hair turned back into black hair. With another swipe, the silver ghost mask reappeared. His black pupils turned into blood-red pupils, and his silver hair was as white as snow. What a powerful demonic face! Originally, my cultivation base was not strong enough to resist the baleful aura in the 6th level of the blood prison. However, after refining this ghost mask, the baleful aura here could not hurt me at all. However, this ghost mask can only defend against baleful chi. It can't release baleful chi to hurt the enemy. This ghost mask can block most eternal ancient realm cultivators from probing, divining, and sensing. Even an immortal emperor might not be able to see through me. Moreover, I can vaguely feel that this ghostly face has other abilities. This feeling is like the feeling when I stood on the altar, as if I could strip away karma. Apart from that, this ghost mask actually has another divine ability. Invisibility. All of a sudden, Ning Fan's figure vanished into thin air. He did not escape into another space. He was still standing on the same spot, but his body had become one with heaven and earth, completely concealed. Concealing himself in heaven and earth. Under the state of concealment, he could move. This ghost mask came with an invisibility divine ability. If it is used, even ordinary immortal emperors might not be able to detect Ning Fan's invisibility. However, because Ning Fan's cultivation base was far from enough to activate the full power of the innate spiritual equipment, there were a lot of limitations when he used this ability. 2 hours later, the invisibility effect was automatically removed. Ning Fan, who had the ghost mask, blood-red eyes and silver hair, reappeared in the cell of the 6th level. With Ning Fan's current cultivation base, the invisibility effect could only last for 2 hours at most. Ning Fan tried activating the ghost mask, wanting to activate the invisibility ability again. However, he realized that he could not activate it again within a short period of time after being invisible once. He was not in a hurry. He stayed in the 6th level of the blood prison for 10 days. 10 days later, he finally successfully activated the invisibility ability again. It seemed like he could only use it once every 10 days due to the limitation of his cultivation base. Even so, Ning Fan was already extremely satisfied. With this ghost mask, if Ning Fan was ambushed by others, he could use the invisibility ability to blend with heaven and earth and escape quietly. This ghost mask was definitely a life-saving treasure. Ning Fan stood up and wiped his face, keeping the ghost mask. Even if the ghost mask entered his body, it could still resist the suppression of others' baleful chi and divine divination. However, after the ghost mask entered his body, the effect of resisting baleful chi and divine divination would be reduced by half. Moreover, if he did not summon the ghost mask, he would not be able to activate the invisibility ability and display the other ability of the ghost mask. An ability that Ning Fan did not know yet. I have already stayed in the blood prison for more than 40 days. According to the calculation of 100,000 points per day, I have already exceeded the upper limit of 3 million points. There's no point in staying any longer. I can leave now. Ning Fan walked out of the cell and turned to return to the 5th level. All of a sudden, the 5 little girls who had been silent for a long time inside the sword pouch started to chatter. Little Fan, don't be in such a hurry to leave. Big sister will bring you to search for treasures. Little Fan, don't be in such a hurry to leave. Second sister will bring you to search for treasures. Little Fan, don't be in such a hurry to leave. Third sister will bring you to search for treasures. Little Fan, don't be in such a hurry to leave. Fourth sister will bring you to search for treasures. Little, Ning Fan halted his footsteps and said with a smile after hearing the 5 little girls' words. Search for treasures. Where is the treasure? What treasure is it? The treasure is right below. It's right below. It's a sword. A sword. That sword is very ancient. Very powerful. Very scary. The 5 little girls said in unison. Below. The 7th level. There's a sword in the 7th level. Ning Fan's eyes flickered. He thought for a while and waved his hand to summon the ghost mask. Then, he walked towards the 7th level. Even if there was really a treasure in the 7th level of the blood prison, he would not dare to take it. After all, it was a treasure of the Slaughter Palace. The fact that it could be stored in the 7th level was enough to prove how precious it was. Taking it would mean certain death. Even though he would not take it, he did not mind looking at it from afar. He wanted to see what kind of treasured sword could make the 5 little sword spirits so excited. He stood at the staircase leading to the 7th level, but he did not enter it. It was because the baleful chi in the 7th level was so strong that even an immortal emperor would not be able to enter it. His eyes were filled with horror as he looked at the 7th level. It was completely red and he could not see anything. The 7th level was not a prison cell. The 7th level was a place where treasures were kept. Even immortal emperors could not enter this place. Little Fan, can't you see it? It's empty below the staircase. There's only a blood-red sword. It's very tall and huge. It's embedded with 7 blood crystals and is sealed by many runes and chains. Huh? Little Fan, you really can't see it? It's really strange. You're so powerful. How could you not see it? We can all see it. Could it be that we're already stronger than you unknowingly? Wow! Are we really that powerful? The 5 little girls were extremely proud of themselves. They turned into 5 rays of sword light and flew out of the sword pouch, heading towards the 7th level. All of a sudden, layers of extremely terrifying baleful chi spread out from the 7th level. All of a sudden, the 5 little girls were dumbfounded. Even though they could see the appearance of the 7th level clearly, they did not have the strength to enter it at all. The layers of baleful chi were enough to freeze them for eternity. Come back. Ning Fan's expression changed greatly. He waved his hand and kept the 5 silly little girls back into the sword pouch. Without saying a word, he desperately ran out of the blood prison. Behind Ning Fan, layers of baleful chi were chasing after him crazily. All the baleful aura in the blood prison originated from the 7th level. There was no need for anyone to guard the blood prison, because anyone who tried to break into the prison would be killed by the sea of fiendish chi in the 7th level. Little Fan. It was sword. It's the baleful aura emitted by the big sword. It wants to kill us. It doesn't like us trespassing on its territory. Big sister is so scared. Woo. So scary. It had only released the tip of the iceberg, how could it be so terrifying? Second sister is scared too, boo-hoo. Little Fan, run. Don't let them catch up. Otherwise, we will all die. Third sister is so scared, what should I do, woo-woo? Little Fan, you can't run away. It's over, sob. Woo. The 5 little girls were so scared that they started to cry. They kept crying inside the sword bags. They knew that they had created a great disaster by trespassing into the 7th floor without permission. They had angered the blood sword of the 7th floor and it was very likely that Ning Fan would be killed. Just as he reached the 4th level of the blood prison, the sea of baleful chi behind him had already caught up to him and drowned him in the sea of blood. The baleful chi was too strong. It was enough to make immortal emperors fall into oblivion and lose themselves. According to the 5 little girls, such a strong baleful chi was emitted by a single blood sword and it was just the tip of the iceberg of all the baleful chi in the sword. What exactly is that sword? How could it have such a terrifying baleful chi? Seeing that he was about to sink into the sea of blood, Ning Fan gritted his teeth and activated the yin-yang locket, entering the profound yin world. The profound yin world was a medium-sized world after all. Even though the baleful chi in the outside world was strong, it was not enough to cross the boundary of the profound yin world and hurt him. After seeing Ning Fan disappear, the baleful chi gradually receded and returned to the giant blood-red sword in the 7th floor. It was an ancient giant sword made of stone. It was bound by countless chains, runes and formation lights. The aura force on the body of the sword was enough to crush an ordinary immortal emperor to death. This sword was extraordinary. It was not something that a second-step cultivator could use. No second-step cultivator could touch this sword. Not even the current Shah Di. Ning Fan stayed in the profound Yin world for 10 days. He released a low-grade spiritual puppet to check out the situation outside. With the help of the spiritual puppet, Ning Fan found out that the terrifying baleful qi in the 7th floor had already subsided. Only then did he feel relieved and left the profound Yin world. He kept the spiritual puppet, removed the ghost mask and headed out of the blood prison. There must be a great secret in the 7th floor. Unfortunately, such a great secret was not something that he could find out. The moment Ning Fan walked out of the blood prison, the immortal king of the Nether Sea nodded his head in satisfaction. Now, the 4 rounds of the competition had officially ended. Needless to say, Ning Fan was undoubtedly the first place. His score of 27 million points was something that no one in the past could surpass. There was no one in the past and no one in the future who could surpass him. From today onwards, Ning Fan is a disciple of my slaughter palace. The immortal king of the Nether Sea's voice was not loud, but it was clearly heard by every old monster at the scene. The slaughter palace did not restrict their disciples from killing each other. However, they were very protective of their disciples. They did not allow outsiders to harm their disciples. At least, no one below the eternal ancient realm would dare to kill a disciple of the slaughter palace in public. Even if they want to kill someone, they would do it secretly without leaving any traces. The curtains of the competition fell on this day. Many life immortal realm experts and old monster Du Zhen who were hostile to Ning Fan just now ran towards him to express their goodwill. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that Ning Fan was favored by the immortal king of the Nether Sea. Besides, he was also the best among his peers. His future would certainly be boundless. Even though Ning Fan was just a void fragmentation realm expert, no one dared to underestimate him. The Slaughter Palace has accepted an incredible disciple in this disciple recruitment ceremony. Some Shikong and Xiao Nian old monsters thought to themselves. Ning Fan was not a person who did not know what was good for him. Since others were willing to express their goodwill, whether it was sincere or not, he would respond to them one by one. As the competition ended, some old monsters left with their juniors. There were also some old monsters who temporarily stayed on the Blood Sea planet to cultivate. Yao Qingyun looked at Ning Fan with a frown. She already knew that Ning Fan would get the first place. Thus, she was already mentally prepared for it. However, when she saw Ning Fan ascending the high platform, dripping his blood essence and leaving behind his disciple's life token, she still felt extremely displeased. In the end, Ning Fan still joined the Slaughter Palace. This detestable brat actually managed to get the first place. This is really infuriating. What was even more infuriating was that she had once made a bet with the immortal king of the Nether Sea, saying that she would help the champion of this batch to undergo the baptism of the blood pool of the highest level. The baptism of the blood pool of the highest level required her to personally guide Ning Fan into the blood pool and help him complete the baptism step by step. Moreover, during this process, both of them could not wear any clothes. They had to complete the baptism naked. Very few people were qualified to undergo the baptism of the blood pool of the highest level. Even Yao Qingyun was not qualified to do so when she was young. She had also never helped anyone undergo the baptism of the blood pool of this level. In the past, whenever the Yao clan came, she would just randomly send one of her subordinates to help them undergo the baptism. To be honest, after the immortal king of the Nether Sea's painstaking guidance, she no longer hated Ning Fan like she did in the past. After all, the immortal king of the Nether Sea was her savior. What he said was not without reason. However, even though she no longer hated Ning Fan, she still disliked him. It was really torturous for her to face Ning Fan in the nude. Yao Qingyun was a person who would never go back on her words. She could afford to lose the bet. Yan Hong, go and inform the master of the blood pool pavilion. Tell him that he must prepare a blood pool of the highest level within 3 months. If he asks about it, just tell him that it's the Great Elder's request. Lu Lan, after Ning Fan finds a disciple's residence, you go and tell him that I will personally host the baptism of the blood pool for him 3 months later. Even though Yao Qingyun was giving an order, her tone carried a rare hint of gentleness. The Yan Hong and Lu Lan that she mentioned were the two female ghost-masked cultivators standing behind her. Both of them were at the early crossing truth realm. Both of them looked like old women. When they were young, they used to be Yao Qingyun's maids and joined the slaughter palace together with her. Both of them had extremely poor innate talents. They only succeeded in becoming immortals when they were 80 to 90,000 years old. Then, with Yao Qingyun's help, they cultivated all the way to the early crossing truth realm. Unfortunately, due to their limited innate talents, they could not break through to the mid-crossing truth realm no matter what. If Yao Qingyun still cared about anyone in this world, it would probably be these two maids. Yes. As soon as they heard Yao Qingyun's order, the two ghost-masked old women immediately responded respectfully and left in a rainbow. Yao Qingyun's eyes were filled with reminiscence as she watched the two women leaving. Once upon a time, she was also the little princess of the Yao clan who didn't stain her hands with blood. Unfortunately, after her parents passed away, the Yao clan was surrounded by enemies at every step. In the end, the shameless old women of the Yao clan were so shameless that, Elder Yao's hostility towards that Ning Fan seems to have lessened a lot. Fei He's gloomy laughter came from behind Yao Qingyun. Yao Qingyun frowned, turned around and said coldly, "There's no need for Elder Fei to worry about my matters. It's me who's being a busybody." Fei He smiled coldly and slowly left. Yao Qingyun looked at Fei He's back and frowned even more. She always knew that Fei He wanted to kill her. It wasn't strange at all. The cultivators of the slaughter palace had a competitive relationship. Killing each other wouldn't violate the rules. According to the rules of the slaughter hall, apart from special times and special occasions where disciples were forbidden from killing each other, killing was not allowed at other times. For example, during the disciple recruitment ceremony, disciples were forbidden to kill each other. For example, in the bloody slaughtering world, disciples of the slaughter palace were forbidden to kill each other. Therefore, some disciples of the slaughter palace would swear a great Tao heart oath to form an alliance in order to resist the slaughter of the disciples of the slaughter palace. As a disciple of the slaughter palace, it was very common to be hacked to death by other disciples while they were sleeping. It was also very common to be ambushed when they were in seclusion. In order to survive in the slaughter palace, one had to either join a small group or possess extremely strong strength and self-protection methods to survive alone. Yao Qingyun didn't find it strange that Fei He wanted to kill her. In the slaughter palace, there were many people who wanted to kill her. As long as they couldn't kill her and take away her elder token, she would still be an elder with great power. However, Ning Fan was quite dissatisfied with the tradition of the slaughter palace. After a series of ceremonies, he left his life token in the slaughter palace and officially joined the slaughter palace. Two mid-human profound realm disciples of the slaughter palace led Ning Fan to a disciple's residence and chose an address. There were many disciples' residences in the slaughter city, but most of them were empty. Very few cultivators of the slaughter palace would be foolish enough to stay in a disciple's residence. Most of them would look for a secluded abode to hide from others. Ning Fan randomly chose a disciple's residence. He did not decide to stay there for a long time. He just wanted to take a rest here first and then open up a secluded abode in another part of the Blood Sea Star to stay there. Just as he chose a disciple's residence, one of the two disciples who were leading the way suddenly attacked and killed the other disciple beside him. This was the tradition of the slaughter palace. Disciples must be alert at all times to guard against assassinations and sneak attacks from all directions. The disciple who killed his companion naturally did not dare to attack Ning Fan. Firstly, he knew how strong Ning Fan was. Attacking him would only be courting death. Secondly, he knew that Ning Fan had the death exemption token. Thus, he did not dare to attack Ning Fan. After smiling apologetically at Ning Fan, he cleaned up his companion's corpse and took his storage pouch. Then, he left with a radiant smile on his face. Killing each other, huh? Ning Fan's brows were tightly knitted together. He did not like a sect that even his fellow disciples had to be wary of. If he didn't have the death exemption token, there would be many experts from the kill hall who would be more than happy to assassinate him. Fortunately, he had already refined the innate ghost mask. Even if he really encounters an ambush from the experts of the Killing Palace, he would not be afraid. He was confident that he could escape unscathed. Not long after that, other disciples came to deliver Ning Fan's portion. After a while, another disciple of the Killing Palace brought Ning Fan's Jade of Slaughter to him. The Slaughter Jade was a jade pendant used to record the killing points of the Killing Palace's disciples. The number of killing points shown on the jade was 27. 27 million. Ning Fan directly ignored the remaining points. With so many slaughter points, one could go to the Slaughter Pavilion's main pavilion to exchange for what they needed. The main pavilion was in Slaughter City. Ning Fan did not have the intention to spend his killing points for the time being. At this moment, all he could think about was the Longevity Jade. He had successfully joined the Massacre Hall. If he had the chance to meet the Shah Di and present the Elder Order to him, he would have the chance to obtain the Longevity Jade. The Shah Di's palace was built in the slaughtering blood world, not in the outside world. It was not easy to meet the Shah Di. If he claimed that he had the Elder's token, he would be qualified to enter the Blood Realm to present the token. However, he did not want to expose the fact that he had an Elder's Order before meeting Shah Di. He had the Death Exemption token. The other kill hall experts could not kill him, but it did not mean that they could not snatch his Elder token. If the Elder token was taken away in advance, he would be in big trouble. At that time, he would have no bargaining chips to ask for the Longevity Jade from the Shah Di. Chi! A streak of light suddenly landed outside the disciples' residence. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. The person who came was an early crossing truth expert. After knowing the bad tradition of the Slaughter Palace, Ning Fan needed to maintain 120% vigilance when facing anyone. The newcomer was an old woman in blue. Her face was covered by a scarlet gold ghost mask. Her expression was cold, but there was no killing intent. She didn't come here to deal with Ning Fan. She was only here to convey the order of her mistress. Your baptism in the blood pool will be presided over by Elder Azure Cloud, and it will take place in 3 months. 3 months later, remember to head to the blood pool pavilion. Do not miss your baptism in the blood pool. Your baptism is of the highest grade. It can at least increase your chances of becoming an immortal by 15%. Don't underestimate it. Even though the old woman's tone was cold, Ning Fan could sense some kindness from her tone. This lady used to be a maid of the Yao family. Her name was Lu Lan. She served Yao Qingyun and was loyal to her to the death. Yao Qingyun was almost humiliated. Lu Lan hated the Yao family to the core. Ning Fan had annihilated the Yao family. She had a good impression of Ning Fan. Even though she always treated people coldly, her tone was still polite. Thank you for your reminder, senior. This junior naturally wouldn't dare to underestimate the baptism in the blood pool this time. Ning Fan said with a clear voice. After conveying Yao Qingyun's order, Lu Lan no longer had the intention to stay. She turned around and left. Ning Fan, on the other hand, pondered with a frown after the lady left. Sure enough, before the first wave subsided, another wave arose. He had yet to think of a way to enter the blood world and meet the Shah Di. Now, he would have to face the baptism of the blood pool that Yao Qingyun would be presiding over. In Ning Fan's impression, Yao Qingyun had already become smart and was thinking of ways to kill him. Perhaps, that foolish woman will use the opportunity of the baptism to eliminate me. I need to be more careful. He had really misunderstood Yao Qingyun. Yao Qingyun had lost a bet to the immortal king of the Nether Sea. Since she was willing to accept her loss, she would certainly do her best to preside over the baptism of the blood pool for Ning Fan. She still had that bit of tolerance. Hee. Little friend, you have to be careful during the baptism of the blood pool this time. In my opinion, that Yao Qingyun doesn't have any good intentions. A hoarse and gloomy laughter suddenly came from outside the house. It was cold and forbidding. It was Fei Fei again. Chapter 739. A hoarse and gloomy laughter suddenly came from outside the house. It was Fei He. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. Then, he stood up without batting an eyelid. At the same time, Fei He pushed open the door and walked in. Disciple Ning Fan greets Elder Fei. Ning Fan's disliked Fei He in his heart, but he did not show any emotion on his face. He cupped his fists and bowed respectfully. This old man and you feel like old friends. Little friend, you don't have to be so polite. Fei He waved his hand and found a chair to sit on. He then smiled and said, Little friend, you're really impressive. With your cultivation base at the peak of the void fragmentation realm, you managed to defeat all your peers and obtain the first place in this year's Grand Massacre competition. Impressive. Thank you for your praise, Elder. Ning Fan said respectfully. This old man has seen countless people, but this is the first time I've seen such an outstanding junior like you. I see that little friend is on the verge of becoming an immortal, but your comprehension of life and death is still lacking, so I want to help little friend. What do you think, little friend? One who is unaccountably solicitous is hiding evil intentions. Ning Fan's heart shuddered. He became even more vigilant. However, he did not show it on his face and asked respectfully. How would I dare to reject Senior's kind intention? However, I wonder how Senior is going to help me. I can see that little friend's innate talent in the Tao of Corpse isn't weak. It seems like you have already completed the third corpse transformation. Little friend, do you know that Sha Di has an ancient 8-revolution pill called Corpse Liberation Pill? It is said that after a third corpse transformation cultivator consumes it, it can greatly increase the comprehension of life and death and increase the chance of becoming an immortal by 10%. At the same time, the time needed to stabilize the realm after becoming an immortal would also be greatly reduced. To you, this pill is a good thing that is hard to come by. I happen to have some matters to attend to in the Bloody Realm. Why don't you follow me into the Bloody Realm to see the Sha Di? How about this? You can come with me to the Bloody Realm and see the Sha Di. You can ask for the undead elixir's formula yourself. How about that? Sha Di sees that you are talented and will most likely be willing to give you the elixir formula. As soon as he finished speaking, Fei He stared at Ning Fan with a cold smile on his face. He had already decided to bring Ning Fan into the blood world. Whether Ning Fan agreed or not, there was no way he could refuse. The corpse liberation elixir was the most important item in his plan. He had to obtain it no matter what. Senior wants me to go to the blood-slaughtering realm with you to meet Sha Di. Ning Fan's face remained expressionless but his heart was filled with joy. It was really like meeting a pillow when he was sleepy. As he was thinking about how to enter the blood world and meet the Sha Emperor, Fei He came to help him. What? You don't want to follow me into the blood world? Fei He's eyes turned cold. Ning Fan remained silent for a while. His expression seemed to be hesitating, but in fact, he had already agreed to enter the blood world. After a long while, Ning Fan feigned a bitter smile and said, I will follow Senior's arrangements. This is very good. Fei He nodded with satisfaction and looked at Ning Fan's eyes with a hint of disdain. He thought to himself, so what if this kid's aptitude is high? At the end of the day, he has yet to grow up. His cultivation base is only at the void fragmentation realm. It's impossible for him to disobey my orders and escape from my plan. The first step was to help Ning Fan become an immortal and continuously improve his strength. For the second step, he wanted to use Ning Fan as his vessel and plot against Yao Qingyun. After that, he would devour and assimilate Ning Fan. The prerequisite for this plan was that Fei He must at least have the cultivation base of a life immortal realm expert. Besides, the higher his cultivation base, the greater the benefits he could obtain. That was why Fei He would go through so much trouble to help Ning Fan become an immortal. In order to kill a chicken and eat its meat, one must first fatten up the chicken bit by bit, right? Since you have agreed to this matter, I will come and find you 3 days later. Let's enter the blood world. Fei He smiled sinisterly. He stood up and was about to leave. Ning Fan's eyes slightly moved and asked. This junior is willing to follow senior into the blood world and have an audience with Sha Di. However, I am a little worried that I might not be able to make it in time for the baptism in the blood pool 3 months later. Hee. You don't have to worry about this. 2 months is enough for you and me to return to the blood world. I will never let you miss the baptism in the blood pool. How can I be willing to lower your chances of becoming an immortal? Fei He gave a strange smile and licked his lips. Then, he ordered. After 4 rounds of competition, you must be exhausted. Take a good rest. 3 days later, I will find you and bring you to the blood world. During these 3 days, you can go to the slaughter pavilion and see if there is anything that can increase your strength. Try to buy as much as you can to increase your strength. Don't feel bad about killing points. There are still 100 billion Dao crystals here. They are a gift from me. Consider them as a token of my appreciation. If you don't have enough killing points, you can use these Dao crystals to buy the things you need. Hee. Just buy whatever you want. Don't feel bad about spending money. You should know that only the money that you use is yours. If a person dies, all of his assets will change owners. As soon as he finished speaking, Fei He gave a strange smile. His body swayed and turned into a faint blood shadow. After Fei He left, Ning Fan looked at the storage pouch on the table and remained silent for a long time. His brows gradually knitted together. This Fei He is really generous. He is actually willing to give me 100 billion Dao crystals. He even went to great lengths to bring me to the blood world just to obtain the corpse liberation pill and help me become an immortal. If I say that this person has good intentions towards me, I'm afraid no one will believe it. What is this person planning to do to me? At first, I thought that he just wanted to use me to get rid of Yao Qingyun. Now, it seems like things are not as I thought. This person not only has his eyes on Yao Qingyun but also me. Besides, I always feel that the way he looked at me was like. It was like the way a mortal looked at a livestock in a pen. He was waiting for those livestock to grow up bit by bit and then, he would slaughter them. Ning Fan, that Fei He doesn't have good intentions. You better not go to the blood world of slaughter. I'm afraid that you will fall into his trap bit by bit. In the Yuanya world, Yang Nuan said worriedly. What nonsense are you talking about? It wasn't easy for me to enter the slaughter palace and get the chance to meet Sha Di in the blood world. How can I miss it? Don't worry. You should have seen the innate ghost face that I have refined, right? With this treasure in hand, even if Fei He really wants to kill me, I'm confident that I can escape unscathed. Besides, I can see that even though Fei He has bad intentions towards me, he will never attack me before I become an immortal. It seems like his plan can only be carried out after I attain the life immortal realm. Before I become an immortal, I can make use of this person to obtain some benefits. Fei He was a wolf and a tiger. Without a doubt, Ning Fan was dancing with a wolf and asking a tiger for its skin. Even though he understood that it was extremely dangerous to confront Fei He, he could no longer avoid it. Since the first time Fei He came to him, he had no way to retreat. He could only follow Fei He's plan and make Fei He's efforts go to waste at the crucial moment. Nuan Air, the longevity jade is almost in my hands. Ning Fan said with a smile. Oh. Yang Nuan's worries could not be dispelled. The longevity jade was indeed just one step away from his hands. However, this step was the most dangerous one. For this step, Ning Fan needed to meet Sha Di and ask for the jade from him. Whether to give him the jade or not, it was all in Sha Di's hands, not Ning Fan. Even though Ning Fan had the death exemption token and the worst-case scenario would be that he would not die, Yang Nuan was still worried about his safety. Do you still remember our bet? Ning Fan suddenly changed the topic. Ah. In the Yuanya world, Yang Nuan seemed to have thought of something. Her ears turned hot and her face turned red like fire. Once in a lifetime. Ning Fan teased. Perverted. Yang Nuan said angrily. While she was worrying half to death here, he was thinking about all sorts of nonsense. Sure enough, his head is filled with shit. After 4 rounds of competitions, Ning Fan was indeed very tired. After making Yang Nuan angry, he sat cross-legged on the bed alone and closed his eyes to rest. As soon as he entered the slaughter palace, Ning Fan naturally did not dare to sleep in the disciples' quarters. That would only be seeking his own death. To cultivators, resting with their eyes closed was already considered a good rest. On the first day, the disciples of the slaughter palace came to visit him one after another. However, all of them were rejected by Ning Fan. On the second day, Ning Fan felt refreshed. He walked out of the door and exchanged some pleasantries with the senior and junior brothers of the slaughter palace who came to visit him. Then, he went to the main pavilion of the slaughter pavilion in the slaughter city. The slaughter palace was different from the ordinary sects in the eastern sky. They had very few restrictions on their disciples. As a disciple of the slaughter palace, they could leave the sect whenever they want. Even if they did not return for hundreds or thousands of years, nothing would happen to them. Every cultivator of the slaughter palace was an assassin. Normally, they did not have a fixed position. Other than the mandatory summons such as the Elder Order and the Kill Emperor Order, they would not be given any tasks. Each of the assassins of the slaughter palace had a slaughter jade which recorded their own kill points. There were 3 sources of kill points: purchasing them with Dao crystals, obtaining them by completing tasks, or killing other cultivators of the same palace to obtain their kill points. If one uses Dao crystals to purchase the kill points, one would need to spend 10,000 Dao crystals to purchase 1 kill point. If one completes a task, he or she would have to choose from 2 types of tasks. One of them was the task of guarding the slaughter pavilion. There were countless slaughter pavilions in the eastern sky. This task was relatively leisurely and the amount of kill points one could obtain was lesser. However, one did not need to travel around. It was suitable for cultivators who were busy comprehending the Tao or in seclusion. The other type was the red reward task. There were assassination tasks and occasionally, there were treasure hunting tasks. If one completes a task, not only would he or she obtain Dao crystals, but he or she would also obtain a kill point that was equivalent to the value of the Dao crystals. As a cultivator of the slaughter palace, he or she would not be deducted 20% of the intermediary fee for completing the red reward task. Killing other cultivators of the same palace could also obtain kill points. The kill points of the killed cultivators would automatically be transferred to the slaughter jade of the killer. The slaughter palace would not force its disciples to complete the task. He had plenty of ways to make these assassins complete the task on their own. There were 2 uses for the kill points. One was to exchange for items that one needed in the slaughter pavilion. The other was to save one's life. The kill points were the lives of the cultivators of the slaughter palace. If the kill points were depleted, they would be hunted down by the group of ghost-masked assassins of the slaughter palace. Only when they had the kill points again would the hunt stop. Every year, the slaughter palace would deduct the kill points of the cultivators in the palace according to different standards. Void Fragmentation Realm disciples would have 5 kill points deducted every year, which was equivalent to 50,000 Dao crystals. Life Immortal Realm cultivators would have 100 kill points deducted every year, which was equivalent to 1 million Dao crystals. True Immortal Realm cultivators would have 5,000 kill points deducted every year, which was equivalent to 50 million Dao crystals. When one's cultivation base reached the second step, a casual seclusion would last for several years, tens of years or even hundreds of years. One could imagine how many kill points would be deducted during the seclusion. The slaughter palace would not ask its disciples to protect themselves well. If they do not protect themselves well, they might be killed by their fellow disciples. The slaughter palace would not ask its disciples to complete the task. If they do not complete the task, they could only wait for death once their kill points are deducted. Ning Fan liked the freedom and unrestrained nature of the slaughter palace. However, he disliked the merciless atmosphere of the slaughter palace. The friendship between the disciples was rare, and there was also friendship between the sections. However, such a cold and indifferent sect was actually protecting the blood world of slaughter behind it. Ning Fan could still remember the sorrow he felt when he stood on the blood world. He could feel that the existence of the Slaughter Palace, the Blood Sea Star and even the Blood Sea Star region were all for the sake of the blood world of slaughter. After getting rid of the distracting thoughts in his mind, Ning Fan stopped in front of a magnificent blood-red pavilion. His eyes flickered. The top of this blood-red pavilion was covered with majestic formation marks. Crystal light flickered faintly and its baleful qi was overwhelming. This place was the main pavilion of the Slaughter Pavilion. Greetings, Junior Brother Ning. On the long street outside the main pavilion, a group of profound man realm cultivators who were patrolling the area cupped their fists at Ning Fan respectfully. Their expressions were filled with respect. Currently, everyone in the Slaughter Palace knew who Ning Fan was. Which cultivator below the profound ghost realm would dare to underestimate Ning Fan? The strength that Ning Fan had displayed when he fought his way up to the 65th floor of the heaven-reaching tower without using the Spirit Blast technique had made some profound ghost realm cultivators respect him. Moreover, Ning Fan still had the Spirit Blast technique as his trump card, which was enough to instantly kill a mid-true crossing realm cultivator. Besides, with the death exemption token in his hand, none of the cultivators of the Slaughter Palace would dare to attack him. The attitude of this group of cultivators towards Ning Fan was quite respectful. They did not dare to show any neglect at all. Ning Fan greets my senior brothers and sisters. Ning Fan cupped his fists slightly and returned the greeting to the patrolling cultivators. Then, he strode towards the pavilion of the main pavilion. Outside the light gate of the main pavilion, there were two cold-faced old men who were guarding it. Both of them had early true crossing realm cultivation bases. With their true immortal realm cultivation bases, they would not even bother to talk to life immortal realm cultivators. However, as soon as they saw Ning Fan, they actually squeezed out a smile and smiled politely. Ning Fan also squeezed out a smile and returned the smile to the two of them. After stepping into the light gate, they discovered that it was actually a medium kiliacosm broken world which had its own heaven and earth. It was not spacious and seemed to be incomplete. However, the level of the world was so high that even a true immortal realm cultivator at the thought fragmentation realm would find it hard to break through. In this medium kiliacosm broken world, the sky was decorated with 7 gigantic silver stars. They were connected to each other like the Big Dipper, illuminating the entire space. There were 12 gigantic pavilions on the ground: Divine Weapon Pavilion, Immortal Technique Pavilion, Pill Grade Pavilion, Immortal Talisman Pavilion, Puppet Pavilion, Immortal Formation Pavilion, Cauldron Pavilion, Crimson Suspending Pavilion, Spiritual Beast Pavilion, 100 Treasure Pavilion, Technique Inheritance Pavilion and Teleportation Pavilion. The Divine Weapon Pavilion sold a dazzling array of magic treasures, spiritual equipment and all kinds of spiritual ores of heaven and earth that could be used to forge magic treasures and spiritual equipment. The Immortal Technique Pavilion sold abilities and cultivation methods of various grades. The Pill Grade Pavilion sold pills, pill recipes and spiritual herbs of various grades. The Immortal Talisman Pavilion, Puppet Pavilion, Immortal Formation Pavilion and Spiritual Beast Pavilion sold all kinds of immortal talismans, puppets, formation discs, and demon pets. In the Crimson Suspending Pavilion, customers could submit tasks, hire bodyguards and also purchase killing points by spending Dao crystals. The Cauldron Pavilion sold all kinds of male and female cauldrons. The 100 Treasures Pavilion sold all kinds of spiritual items and miscellaneous items such as star discs and immortal flames. In the Technique Teaching Pavilion, customers could ask seniors to guide them in their cultivation methods and cultivation. Of course, they would need to spend money. In the Teleportation Pavilion, there were countless teleportation formations of star regions. Those that were close could teleport them across several star regions, while those that were far away could teleport them to places that were hundreds or even thousands of star regions away. In this place, customers could spend Dao crystals and also kill points to shop. If they have completed pills, magic treasures and other items, they could also sell them to the 12 pavilions in exchange for a certain amount of kill points. Among the 12 pavilions, each of them was guarded by Old Monster Shikong. The pavilion masters of the 12 pavilions were extremely respected in the slaughter palace. Shah D was above them. Below him were the 24 elders, the 12 pavilion masters and the 800 ghost-faced cultivators. Below the ghost-faced cultivators were the ordinary cultivators of the slaughter palace. All of them were senior and junior brothers. In the medium kiliacosm broken world, there were many cultivators of the slaughter palace coming and going. When they saw Ning Fan, most of them would greet him with a smile. However, no one knew how sincere their smiles were. Ning Fan also had a fake smile on his face while replying to the greetings of his senior and junior brothers. Meanwhile, his eyes were lingering on the 12 pavilions. He had a total of 27 million kill points and 120 billion Dao crystals. His net worth was comparable to Shi Kong. Presumably, he would be able to buy a lot of good items in the 12 pavilions. If it was before, Ning Fan would probably spend most of his money on life-saving methods. Now that he had refined the innate ghost face, his ability to protect himself had greatly increased. Thus, he could spend most of his money on improving his cultivation base and strength. Ning Fan did not go to the floating pavilion. Instead, he went to the divine weapon pavilion first. This pavilion sold many powerful magic treasures. It even sold the method to refine Dao weapons as well as the materials needed for refining Dao weapons. Ning Fan was not interested in magic treasures, but he was very interested in the method to refine Dao weapons. He only spent 10,000 kill points to purchase a jade slip for refining sword-shaped Dao weapons. The jade slip contained thousands of methods to refine sword-shaped Dao weapons. The reason why he bought this jade slip was because he wanted to learn more about the method to refine Dao weapons. Now that he had yet to attain the immortal ascension realm, he had yet to decide on the direction of refining the memory-severing Dao sword. Naturally, he would not be in a hurry to purchase the various types of spiritual ores required for the refinement. After keeping the jade slip, Ning Fan went to look at the spiritual equipment. He had the Black Star technique for healing, the Three Flowers technique for defense and the innate ghost face for concealment. Currently, what Ning Fan lacked the most was still speed. He had the intention to buy a flying-type spiritual equipment like Wu Chen's Blood Lotus spiritual equipment. It was very good. Its speed was comparable to the Duzhen spirit equipment and it did not consume any magic power. A Blood Lotus spiritual equipment was priced at 4 million kill points. Its speed could reach the early Duzhen spirit equipment. A White Lotus spiritual equipment was priced at 40 million kill points. Its speed could reach the early Shedding Void realm. A Black Lotus spiritual equipment was priced at 400 million kill points. Its speed could reach the early Thought Fragmentation realm. Ning Fan looked at the White and Black Lotuses with excitement. If he could buy one of them, he could use the White and Black Lotuses to escape. Even an early Shedding Void realm old monster like Fei he might not be able to catch up to him. Unfortunately, the White and Black Lotuses were too expensive. They were not something he could afford. What a pity. Money is never enough to spend. Ning Fan sighed. Chapter 740. Since he could not afford the Black Lotus and White Lotus, Ning Fan could only settle for the next best thing, which was the cheaper Blood Lotus spirit equipment. The method of payment was very simple. One just had to shine the slaughtered jade at the counter where the Blood Lotus spirit artifact was placed. The formation light on the counter disappeared, allowing the buyer to take the item in the formation light. 4 million kill points were deducted from the slaughtered jade. Remaining kill points, 26 million. With the Blood Lotus in hand, he could easily escape from cultivators below the true immortal realm in the future even if he was outnumbered. In addition to the concealment ability of the Ghost Face spiritual equipment, Ning Fan thought for a moment and felt that there was no need to spend money to buy offensive jade slips and offensive immortal talismans for the time being. The jade slips and immortal talismans of the Duzhen strike were worth around 1 million slaughter points, which was equivalent to 10 billion Dao crystals. Since he had a life-saving method, there was no need for him to buy a life-saving method like an attack jade slip. He could spend the money elsewhere. In the puppet pavilion, a human profound puppet was worth around 500,000 kill points, while a ghost profound puppet was worth around 1,000,000 kill points. The Duzhen puppet was expensive. An early-stage puppet cost 20 million, which was equivalent to 200 billion Dao crystals. Ning Fan pondered for a while. In the end, he still could not make up his mind to buy the Duzhen puppet. Initial stage Duzhen puppet's help was too little, but its price was frighteningly high. The price of a Duzhen puppet was enough for Ning Fan to hire an early shedding Void Realm assassin from the Red Suspending Pavilion to kill him twice. It was not worth it. The price of demonic beasts was slightly higher than puppets of the same level. A life-immortal demon pet was usually worth more than 500,000 slaughter points, which was equivalent to 5 billion Dao crystals. Ning Fan could not help but recall the past on the Shaozi star in the past. In the past, he cut off the divine chests of the life-immortal realm demon pets and sold all of them for 100 million. It seems like I've lost quite a lot. After all, Ning Fan already had Zili. To Ning Fan, he could not find a demon pet that was more loyal and protective than Zili. Except for Blackie. There were many spiritual items of the 5 elements in the 100 Treasure Pavilion. If Ning Fan had enough money, he could buy enough spiritual items of the 5 elements to cultivate his great 5 elements physique to the peak. Unfortunately, a low-grade level 8 immortal fire seed was worth 100,000 slaughter points, which was equivalent to 1 billion Dao crystals. If he wanted to cultivate the great 5 elements body to the 5 elements perfection, he would need to spend at least 500 billion Dao crystals. He did not have enough money to burn the great 5 elements physique for the time being. There were countless cauldrons in the Cauldron Pavilion. A profound cauldron furnace had 100,000 kill points, and a profound ghost had 200,000 kill points. There were also crossing truth cauldrons, each worth 5 million points. In the entire Cauldron Pavilion, there were only 6 of them, 2 men and 4 women. As for the empty cauldron, there was none. Ning Fan's magic power was still at its limit. The cauldron was temporarily useless to him. Even though he was tempted, he did not buy it. After breaking through to the life-immortal realm, he could buy a cauldron to cultivate. As he passed by the Inheritance Pavilion, Ning Fan suddenly halted his steps. Today, the Technique Imparting Pavilion Master was giving a lecture on the Tao. He was talking about the Tao of True Void. Entering the pavilion to listen to the lecture required 10,000 slaughter points, which was not expensive. Ning Fan's eyes flickered. He paid the killing points and stepped into the Technique Inheritance Pavilion. He was very interested in the Tao of True Void, even though it was still too early for him to listen to the Tao of True Void. A golden-robed Shura was sitting on a high platform. Below him were more than 100 cultivators of the Kill Hall, all of whom were life immortals. The golden-robed Shikong was expressionless as he calmly explained the Tao. Around his body, there was an aura of vicissitudes of life. This aura would only appear on cultivators at the Eternal Ancient Realm. However, it appeared on him who was a Shura Void cultivator. Ning Fan arrived late. He stood under a Bodhi tree that was further away from the group and listened to the lecture quietly. Pavilion Master, may I ask what is false and what is true? A middle-aged life-immortal realm cultivator asked respectfully. What is false? What is true? When a first-step cultivator stretches out his palm, what he can touch is true. What he can't touch is false. Pavilion Master, may I ask what is false and what is true? The middle-aged life-immortal realm cultivator continued to ask. What is false? What is true? What you can touch might not be true. What you can't touch might not be false. Zhuang Zhou dreams of a butterfly and the butterfly dreams of Zhuang Zhou. Which is true and which is false? Are they both illusions, or are they both real? For example, there are 1 billion flames in this wisp of flame. Each of the flames has its own Tao. Which Tao is the true Tao of this flame? The golden-robed Shura Kong opened his palm and a wisp of flame shot out from his palm. When he raised his hand, the golden flame turned into 1 billion weak golden flames and soared into the sky. 1 billion wisps of flame had 1 billion different Tao of flames. Which one of them was the true Tao? What is a true immortal? Those who cultivate the true Tao are true immortals. What is the true Tao? There are 1 billion great Taos in a single wisp of flame. How many Tao of flames are there in 1 billion wisps of flame? There are 1 billion flames in a world. How many flames are there in 1 billion worlds? How many Tao of flames are there? There are countless Tao of flames in the world, but there is only one Tao of true fire. In your eyes, any of these 1 billion Tao of flames could be the true Tao, and none of them could be the true Tao. To me, all of these 1 billion Tao of flames are not the true Tao. Do you understand what is true? Do you understand how to find the true Tao? As soon as the golden-robed Shura Kong finished speaking, he did not say another word. His eyes swept across the crowd and observed the expressions of the people who were listening to the lecture. Each of the life immortal realm cultivators wore a blank expression. None of them could understand what he meant. The golden-robed Shura Kong shook his head in disappointment. He had already explained it so bluntly, but these people still did not understand what he meant. Their aptitudes were really lacking. Suddenly, the golden-robed Shura Kong's eyes moved and he looked at Ning Fan's direction. He clearly saw that Ning Fan's eyes were only blank for a moment. Then, his eyes became clear and he seemed to be deep in thought. Oh. This young man has yet to attain the second step, but he can actually understand my words. The golden-robed Shura Kong revealed a satisfied smile and asked Ning Fan. Your aptitude is not bad. What's your name? When did you enter the palace? Why have I never heard of you before? Ning Fan was stunned. He cupped his fists and answered. I am Ning Fan. I have just joined the Slaughter Palace. It's not surprising that you don't know me. His voice was neither humble nor arrogant. His expression was not one of trying to curry favor, nor was it one of arrogance, humility, or fear. What he had was just thinking about the Tao. The golden-robed Shura Kong's eyes lit up. It had been a long time since he saw a junior who was so persistent about the Tao. Ning Fan, huh? All right. I will remember you. The golden-robed Shura Kong nodded his head in satisfaction. He had been staying in seclusion in the Technique Inheritance Pavilion all day long. All he wanted was to comprehend the Tao, and he did not care about worldly affairs. It was not surprising that he had not heard of Ning Fan's impressive achievements. However, there were more than 100 life immortal realm cultivators present who did not recognize Ning Fan. Ning Fan had arrived in the middle of his Tao lecture. These people were listening attentively and they did not notice Ning Fan's arrival. As soon as they saw Ning Fan, each of the human profound life immortal realm cultivators' expressions changed, while the ghost profound life immortal realm cultivators' faces were filled with dread and seriousness. The golden-robed Shura Kong was stunned again when he saw Ning Fan. He thought to himself that this junior at the first step was really impressive. He could actually make so many immortal cultivators' expressions change when he was only at the void fragmentation realm. Your aptitude is not bad and your perception is also not bad. If you encounter any problems in your cultivation in the future, you can come to the Technique Inheritance Pavilion to consult me at any time. I will answer your questions for free. Today's Tao lecture is over. All of you can leave now. You, stay. As soon as he finished speaking, the golden-robed Shura Kong stood up. His body gradually turned into golden light spots and disappeared. The golden light condensed and the golden-robed Shura Kong appeared beside Ning Fan. All of a sudden, everyone present looked at Ning Fan with envy. The name of the Technique Inheritance Pavilion's master was Jin Xianzu. He had been stuck at the peak Shura Kong realm for 100,000 years and he was only a step away from the Broken Thought realm. This person's cultivation base might not be the highest in the Slaughter Palace. However, his Tao comprehension was slightly stronger than the immortal king of the Nether Sea. Even some elders who broke their silence would often consult Jin Xianzu when they encounter problems in their cultivation. Of course, they would have to pay for the consultation. In the entire Slaughter Palace, there were only 4 people who could gain Jin Xianzu's favor and could ask him questions for free. Ning Fan was the 5th person. This young man must have extraordinary aptitude and shocking perception. Otherwise, it's impossible for him to gain Pavilion Lord Jin's favor. Each of the Life Immortal Realm cultivators looked at Ning Fan enviously and left the Technique Inheritance Pavilion with a sigh. Very soon, only Ning Fan and Jin Xianzu were left in the Technique Inheritance Pavilion. Ning Fan turned a deaf ear to all of them. His mind was still replaying the scene where a wisp of flame turned into a billion sparks. After a long time, Ning Fan let out a long sigh. He cupped his fists at Jin Xianzu, who was standing in front of him, and said with admiration. Senior's words directly pointed at the Tao truth. This junior is impressed. Not bad. You have a proud character and a humble Tao heart. You are a good candidate for the Tao truth. Tell me about the method of seeking the truth that I just told you. How exactly do I have to seek the truth? Jin Xianzu asked with a smile. Ning Fan did not dare to be negligent. After pondering for a while, he said solemnly. There are countless Taos of fire in the world, but only those that are compatible with one's own Tao are true. The rest are all fabricated. There is no strongest great Tao in this world. There is only the great Tao that suits you the most. That is the truth. If Junior didn't understand wrongly, the method of seeking truth that Senior talked about today is, if you want to seek the true path, you must first seek your own path. After hearing Ning Fan's answer, Jin Xianzu nodded his head in satisfaction. That's right. If you want to pursue the true Tao, you must first pursue your own Tao. Everyone's Tao was different, so everyone's true Tao was also different. Your Tao heart is very firm because you have the Tao. Although you have found your own Tao, you have yet to verify your Tao, and you have yet to cultivate the Tao image. The great Tao is formless and formless because it is not your Tao. If you want to prove your Tao, you will naturally have a Tao image. Jin Xianzu's Tao confirmation was a threshold that peak ghost profound cultivators had to face. If he had not proven his own Tao, he would naturally not be qualified to seek for the true Tao, enter the crossing reality state, and become a true immortal. Strictly speaking, Ning Fan had yet to become an immortal. Thus, there was no need for him to prove his Tao. However, Jin Xianzu felt that Ning Fan's innate talent and comprehension ability were extremely high. Now, he already had the qualifications to prove his Tao. Tao confirmation. Tao image. Ning Fan's eyes were sometimes blank and sometimes clear. He had already roughly understood that his Tao was to protect the people behind him. However, it was too difficult to prove his Tao. How do I prove my Tao? Ning Fan asked blankly. Jin Xianzu did not answer Ning Fan's question. Instead, he casually tossed a pine seed to him. A ray of golden light sent the pine seed into the soil at the side. Under the acceleration of the golden light, the pine seed grew little by little and sprouted. Then, it gradually grew bigger. In just 10 breaths' time, it had already grown into a luohan pine that was several tens of zhang tall. What is the Tao of this luohan pine? Jin Xianzu asked with a smile. If it was an ordinary person, he would certainly answer that it would break out of the soil and grow into a gigantic tree to become a pillar. Unfortunately, that was just the Tao that Jin Xianzu had given to the luohan pine. It was not the correct answer. Ning Fan, however, pondered for a long time. Eventually, he shook his head and sighed. I don't know. Jin Xianzu smiled satisfactorily. Of course, you don't know because you are not it. Only it knows its Tao. Now, let me ask you. How should this luohan pine attain its Tao? Ning Fan's eyes lit up. He cupped his fists and said, Thank you for your guidance, Senior. Only the luohan pine itself knew its Tao. Only it could ponder and ponder on how to attain its Tao. No one else could help it. Since Ning Fan was not a pine, he naturally did not know the Tao of a pine. I didn't give you any guidance. With your comprehension ability, it's just a matter of time for you to understand these things. Even though I can't help you attain your Tao, I can give you a method to comprehend life and death. As soon as he finished speaking, Jin Xianzu's fingers shone with golden light. He drew a golden circle of light on the soil around Ning Fan. If you jump out of this circle, you will face death. Ning Fan looked at the golden circle of light beneath his feet. His eyes were sometimes blank and sometimes clear. The circle of light turned into light spots and disappeared. Ning Fan, however, stood still for a long time with his eyes closed, pondering hard. After a long time, he opened his eyes and cupped his fists at Jin Xianzu. Thank you for your guidance, Senior. Go. You no longer have any doubts in your heart. This is good. After you become an immortal, you can always come to the Technique Inheritance Pavilion to look for me if you have any more questions. As soon as Jin Xianzu finished speaking, his body dispersed into rays of golden light and disappeared without a trace. Comprehending life and death, becoming an immortal and attaining the Tao. Ning Fan's eyes flashed. He took a deep look at the Luohan Pine and strode out of the Technique Inheritance Pavilion. If he needed 100 years to complete his comprehension of the Tao of life and death, after Jin Xianzu's guidance, he would only need 40 years at most to complete his comprehension of the Tao of life and death, breaking through to the immortal realm and advancing to the second step. After leaving the Technique Inheritance Pavilion, Ning Fan went to the Immortal Technique Pavilion. This pavilion sold cultivation methods and jade slips of various grades. In this place, Ning Fan found the cultivation jade slip of the second flower of the 3 flowers at one's prominence. Its price was 1 million killing points. After thinking for a while, Ning Fan decided to buy this jade slip. After all, this jade slip was not too expensive. Even if he could not use it for the time being, he could just buy it and keep it for himself. Other than that, Ning Fan also spent 100,000 killing points to purchase a high-grade immortal technique, Flame Dragon's Breath. Even though this technique was just a high-grade immortal technique, if the cultivator's flames were strong enough, the destructive power of this technique would be comparable to a peak-grade immortal technique. If the cultivator happens to have a powerful demon blood, the destructive power of this technique would be comparable to a low-grade true technique. With the strength of Ning Fan's demon blood, as long as he did not increase the intensity of his flames, he could at least use this technique all the way to the early true crossing realm. Therefore, Ning Fan was not in a hurry to cultivate this technique even though he bought it. The remaining killing points were 22.06 million. Eventually, Ning Fan stepped into the pill ranking pavilion. After spending 100,000 killing points, Ning Fan bought enough body refinement pills which were enough to raise his ancient devil cultivation realm to the peak of the supreme devil realm. After spending 1 million killing points, Ning Fan bought a mid-grade 8th revolution pill, Immortal Bestowment Pill. This pill could increase the chances of becoming an immortal by 5%. It was useless to consume more than one pill. Ning Fan, of course, would not mind having a higher chance of becoming an immortal. Even though 1 million killing points were expensive, he could still afford it. After that, Ning Fan spent nearly 20 million killing points and 100 billion Tao crystals to purchase more than 1,700 tufts of 1 million years old spiritual herbs. He had already bought enough pills which were enough to raise his magic power, body and spirit sense to the peak of the first step. It was enough for him to become an immortal. As for the remaining money, he spent almost all of it on pills to cultivate the 3 flowers at one's prominence. He still had 1 million killing points and 20 billion Tao crystals. Since he could not spend all of his killing points, he might keep some Tao crystals as a precaution. He did not need to buy a formation plate to transcend the immortal tribulation. With his current strength, he was not afraid of the immortal tribulation at all. Even if the tribulation was 10 times stronger, he would still not be afraid. After walking around the 12 pavilions, Ning Fan finally returned to his disciple's residence. There was still one more day before the trip to the Blood Realm. One day was too short. It was not enough to refine the Blood Lotus spirit equipment, the spiritual herbs and the 3 flowers. According to Ning Fan's plan, he would cultivate for another day in his disciple's residence and then follow Fei He to the Blood Realm to meet Sha Di and ask for the Longevity Jade. Unfortunately, as soon as he returned to his disciple's residence, he heard a sobbing sound coming from his own room. All of a sudden, Ning Fan frowned. He did not like others to intrude into his territory, even if it was his temporary residence. He pushed the door open and saw a blue-robed little girl weeping on his bed. As soon as she saw Ning Fan return, the blue-robed little girl raised her head and looked at Ning Fan with tears in her eyes. She was not very beautiful, but she was delicate and lovely. She looked rather pitiful when she cried like that. Unfortunately, her pitifulness could not move Ning Fan's cold heart at all. "Who are you?" Ning Fan frowned and asked impatiently. I am Lu Xan Air. Junior brother Ning, didn't we meet in the morning? Don't you remember me?" Lu Xan Air felt disappointed when she saw Ning Fan's cold eyes. During the grand competition, this little girl was already captivated by Ning Fan's elegant demeanor. This morning, she followed a group of disciples of the Slaughter Palace to express their goodwill to Ning Fan. As she was too nervous, she only had the time to introduce her name and did not have the courage to speak to Ning Fan again. However, she still exchanged glances with Ning Fan. She thought that Ning Fan would remember her name. The cruel reality was that Ning Fan had completely ignored her. Lu Xian Air. Ning Fan recalled that there was a little girl who called herself Lu Xian Air early in the morning. However, Ning Fan was not interested in these cultivators of the Slaughter Palace at that time. He did not pay attention to this little girl and did not even look at her face carefully. "Yes, junior brother Ning, you remember me, right?" Lu Xian Air smiled through her tears. Her face was filled with joy. Liking someone and just being looked at by him was a blessing. "Yes, I remember. Do you need something from me?" Ning Fan asked indifferently. Yes. I want to ask a favor of junior brother Ning." Lu Xian Air's face was red. She twined her fingers and lowered her head while stuttering. "I don't have time." Ning Fan directly refused. "You haven't heard what I want to ask you for." Lu Xian Air bit her lips. "Not interested." Ning Fan said coldly. He and Lu Xian Air did not know each other. If this girl was in trouble, it had nothing to do with him. He had always been cold. He would only be gentle to special people. I'm sorry. You have just joined the Slaughter Palace. There are so many things that you need to do. It's my fault." Lu Xian Air bit her lips to stop her tears from falling down. Then, she walked out of the house in a lonely manner. "By the way, junior brother Ning, this jade slip might be helpful to you in becoming an immortal." "It might not be helpful at all." Lu Xian Air suddenly thought of something. She took out a blue jade slip and put it on the table. She sighed and walked out of the room. She didn't come here to trouble Ning Fan in the first place. She wanted to help Ning Fan become an immortal and leave a good impression on him. However, when she saw Ning Fan, her heart was in a mess. She only wanted to pour out all her grievances to the person she liked. She had forgotten her original purpose of coming here. "This time, I am completely hated. Lu Xian Air, you are really useless. This is the first time you like someone and the first time you were rejected by someone coldly." After Lu Xian Air left, Ning Fan picked up the jade slip on the table and scanned it with his spirit sense. His expression changed instantly. Quicksand's secret place, ancient god's cave of light. Lu Xian Air had once stumbled into a secret place in the quicksand star sea. She even found a cave residence left behind by an ancient god. The cave residence had a terrifying power of time. Lu Xian Air was only an intermediate human profound realm expert, so she couldn't break into it. She only needed to search around the periphery of the cave residence and found a quicksand pearl. She believed that there must be an even greater fortune in the cave residence. She knew that she didn't have the ability to obtain the fortune inside. Therefore, she told Ning Fan about the fortune, hoping that it could help him. She had never told anyone about this secret cave residence. If she didn't meet Ning Fan, perhaps she would never tell anyone about it. Ning Fan kept the jade slip inside softly. He could naturally understand Lu Xian Air's infatuation. He knew that Lu Xian's feelings for him were just a momentary longing of a little girl. Longing was the furthest distance from understanding. There were too many girls who longed for him. Did he have to respond to them one by one? However, this girl had left him a jade slip. It was a jade slip that was rather helpful. For the sake of this jade slip, Ning Fan didn't mind helping her. After receiving a favor, he should return the favor. Thinking of this, Ning Fan's figure flashed and left the disciples' residence. Lu Xian seemed to have lost her soul. She walked on the stone path, stepping on the pebbles desolately. She was heartbroken. She was heartbroken. She didn't understand this feeling. Her unrequited love had just taken root and died before it could sprout. She thought of her family and the day when the Lu clan was annihilated. She suddenly felt wronged. Ever since the Lu clan was annihilated, she had never fallen in love with anyone. She finally fell in love with Ning Fan, but it ended up like this. He hates me. Even he hates me. Lu Xian, you're a failure in life. Lu Xian sighed faintly. Her heart ached. Suddenly, she felt her waist go soft. Someone was actually hugging her. Who? Who is it? Lu Xian turned her head in shame and anger. She found out that the person who hugged her was Ning Fan. She followed Ning Fan and flew up to the sky. I'll keep the jade slip. I never owe anyone a favor. Today, I'll return it to you. Who provoked you? I'll help you vent your anger. Chapter 741. Lu Xian stared at Ning Fan in a daze. She only regained her senses after a long time. She was actually held in the arms of the person she secretly loved, and that person even wanted to avenge her. I. Ning Fan's masculine scent blew against her face. Lu Xian's small face was burning hot. She stuttered and could not utter a complete sentence. I already know what happened to you. How do you want to avenge me? Ning Fan possessed the mind-reading technique. The moment he held Lu Xian's waist, he had already seen through her thoughts. He also knew the ins and outs of how she was deceived. Sun Yan and the others had cheated Lu Xian of her quicksand pearl. Sun Yan and the others were Lu Xian's allies. They had sworn a great heart devil oath that they would not kill each other. That was why Sun Yan spent so much effort to cheat Lu Xian of her belongings instead of killing her and snatching her treasures. Similarly, Ning Fan was found by Lu Xian. If he kills Sun Yan and the others, Lu Xian's Dao heart would be damaged. For Lu Xian's sake, Ning Fan would at most punish Sun Yan and the others. He would not kill them. As for how he would avenge Lu Xian, it would still depend on her decision. I just want my quicksand pearl back. Lu Xian whispered timidly. Understood. Green rain intent flashed in Ning Fan's eyes. The entire Blood Sea Star was suddenly rained. In the drizzling rain, Ning Fan chose a direction and flew out of the slaughter city, heading towards an ordinary-looking barren mountain. With the heaven-peaking rain technique, Ning Fan easily found the location of Sun Yan and the others. Lu Xian was so surprised that she could not close her mouth. She did not tell Ning Fan what she had suffered and where Sun Yan and the others were. However, Ning Fan already knew what happened to her and even knew where Sun Yan and the others were. He really is omnipotent. Lu Xian thought in a daze. This barren mountain seemed ordinary, but there was actually a grand concealment formation which hid a cave dwelling. It was one of Sun Yan's cave dwellings. The disciples of the Slaughter Palace who were led by Sun Yan had sworn a great heart devil oath to each other and became allies. They would not kill each other and would often gather in Sun Yan's cave dwelling. Lu Xian was also one of Sun Yan's allies. At this moment, in the cave, Sun Yan was holding a spiritual feast to entertain his allies. He had been in a good mood recently, and the reason was naturally because he had tricked Lu Xian out of her quicksand pearl. Sun Nian was a middle-stage ghost profound realm cultivator. To him, 2 billion Dao crystals was a windfall. The quicksand bead was worth 2 billion Dao crystal, and it itself was a rare and powerful magic treasure. It was a peak-grade celestial artifact, the quicksand pearl. After obtaining this pearl, Sun Nian was shocked to discover that it actually contained a trace of weak time energy. If this bead was fully activated, its power would be comparable to some low nirvana-acquired celestial treasures. Sun Nian proudly took out the quicksand pearl and showed it to everyone. The jewel emitted a bright purple light. Its powerful power caused many life immortals to exclaim, "Congratulations, senior brother's son, for obtaining a rare treasure." Jin Guang, Gao Yuan, and the other mysterious life immortals gazed at the quicksand pearl with a burning desire in their eyes. They clicked their tongues in admiration and repeatedly urged Sun Nian to drink. The occasional words of flattery made Sun Nian even happier. Sun Nian's eyes were hazy from intoxication as he looked around at everyone, laughing heartily. For this banquet, he invited all of his fellow sect members who swore an oath, but he didn't invite Lu Xian. After all, he held a banquet to celebrate obtaining the quicksand pearl, so how could he invite the victim's family? Ha! Before I obtained the pearl, I only wanted to sell it in exchange for some Dao crystals. I didn't expect this pearl to be so mysterious. If my cultivation goes one step further and reaches the late stage of Ghost Profound Realm, with the power of this pearl, I'm afraid I can even fight a peak Ghost Profound Realm cultivator. It's very likely that I will enter the ranks of the Ghost Profound Realm in this life. Sun Nian stood up with a flushed face and raised the wine cup high, his heroic spirit reaching the clouds. Everyone saw that Sun Nian was in high spirits, so they naturally wouldn't spoil his mood. They all spoke words of flattery. Suddenly, the barren mountain flashed, and a beautiful figure in blue walked into the cave. When everyone saw the identity of the newcomer, they all had strange looks in their eyes. Sun Nian narrowed his eyes and chuckled. "Junior sister Lu, why are you here?" "I'm here to get my quicksand pearl back," Lu Xian said in a tough tone. This was the first time she used such a tough tone to speak to a Ghost Profound Realm cultivator. All the experts present were stunned. Sun Nian's face darkened. He was a little displeased. Lu Xian was only in the middle stage of the human profound realm, but she dared to speak to him in such a tone. She was really courting death. If it wasn't because they had sworn a great heart demon oath not to kill each other, Sun Nian would definitely teach Lu Xian a lesson. "What is a quicksand pearl?" "You lost the pearl, why did you come to me for it?" Sun Nian sneered and pretended to be at a loss. "You have the quicksand pearl in your hand. You and I made a bet. If I lose, I must give you the quicksand pearl. If you lose, you must join senior brother Jin and senior brother Gao and give me 500 million Dao crystals each. Obviously you lost, how can you take away my quicksand pearl?" Lu Xian said angrily. "Oh. Junior brother Jin, junior brother Gao. Is there such a thing? We made a bet with junior sister Lu. How come I don't remember?" Sun Nian pretended to be surprised and looked at Jin Guang and Gao Yuan. Jin and Gao also had a puzzled look on their faces. "What bet? The two of us don't know." Hee, I spent a lot of money to buy this pearl, and its ability is astonishing. No matter how much junior sister Lu is jealous of this pearl, you can't lie with your eyes open and try to swindle my pearl. If junior Marshall sister Lu really wants this bead, this son will give it up for the sake of our friendship. How about this, as long as junior sister Lu is willing to take out 5 billion Dao crystals, I will give this pearl to you, how about it?" Sun Nian chuckled and calmly looked at the angry Lu Xian. He naturally knew that Lu Xian, couldn't take out 5 billion Dao crystals. A middle-stage profound cultivator would be considered rich if he could have 1 billion Dao crystals. 5 billion, even Sun Nian himself couldn't take it out. Lu Xian, pointed at Sun Nian with her soft finger. She was so angry that she couldn't say anything. It was clearly Sun Nian who swindled her quicksand pearl, but now it was her who plotted against Sun Nian's pearl. She had long known that there was no reason in the cultivation world. She only thought that Sun Nian and the others had sworn an oath with her and were friends. They were different from others and could be trusted. Now, it seemed like Sun Nian and the others were also untrustworthy. They had never treated her as a friend at all. After seeing this clearly, Lu Xian gradually calmed down. After all, she was just a middle-stage profound cultivator. She couldn't defeat Sun Nian, who was a middle-stage profound ghost cultivator. Without Ning Fan's help, she could only swallow her anger. Luckily, she didn't come alone. While Sun Nian was sneering, the formation light outside the cave flashed again and a young man in white robes walked in. It was Ning Fan. Ning Fan did not enter the cave together with Lu Xian. Instead, he hid outside the cave. He wanted to let Lu Xian see clearly that Sun Nian and the others couldn't be trusted. He wanted to let Lu Xian learn from her mistakes. Lu Xian's aptitude was not bad, but she was still inexperienced. This time, she was deceived and Ning Fan could help her vent her anger. If she gets deceived again next time, who would be kind enough to help her? And Ning Fan. Why is he here? The moment Ning Fan stepped into the cave, the expressions of the 14 human profound life immortals who were watching the show changed greatly. Sun Nian, who was at the mid-ghost profound realm, was already drunk. However, at this moment, he sobered up from the shock. Is he the helper that you invited? Sun Nian looked at Lu Xian in fear and asked. He no longer had the calmness he had before. Without waiting for Lu Xian to answer, Ning Fan said indifferently, "That's right. I have some friendship with junior sister Lu. I heard that her precious pearl was deceived, so I came here today to seek an explanation for her. I wonder if senior brother's son can give me a satisfactory explanation." As soon as he finished speaking, Ning Fan's eyes flashed with blood-red light. A wave of baleful qi that even ordinary Du Zhen could not withstand immediately swept towards Sun Nian and the others. With just a glance, Jin Guang, Gao Yuan and the rest of the human profound life immortals were devoured by the baleful qi. They suddenly coughed out blood. Their eyes turned blood-red and their qi became chaotic. Sun Nian's eyes gradually turned blood-red. His qi also began to become chaotic. His heart trembled violently. He could not remain calm under this baleful qi at all. He stared at Ning Fan in fear. He knew how terrifying Ning Fan was. Judging from the results he obtained in the heaven-reaching tower, Ning Fan's strength was not something that Sun Nian could compare with. In addition to the deity blast technique, Ning Fan would probably only need a few breaths to slaughter everyone in this cave dwelling. In the slaughter palace, killing fellow disciples was not allowed. If Ning Fan wants to kill someone, no one could stop him. As for him, he had the death exemption token. No one could kill him. Sun Nian knew that the reason why Ning Fan did not take action until now was not because he was afraid of him but because he was afraid of Lu Xian. All of them had sworn the great oath of Heart Devil with Lu Xian. If they are killed by Ning Fan whom Lu Xian invited, Lu Xian would certainly suffer the backlash of the oath. However, it was not Lu Xian who did it herself after all. Even if she suffers the backlash would not be too severe. If they really anger Ning Fan, blood would certainly flow like a river in this cave dwelling. Junior sister Lu, it's my fault. I'll return the quicksand pearl to you. These 500 million Dao crystals are what I lost to you. I'll return them to you as well. Sun Nian gritted his teeth and flicked the quicksand pearl and a storage pouch back to Lu Xian. At the same time, he glared at Jin Guang and Gao Yuan. There was a total of 500 million Dao crystals in that storage pouch. It was the money he lost to Lu Xian. Jin Guang and Gao Yuan had also made a bet. They also needed to return 500 million Dao crystals to Lu Xian. After being glared at by Sun Nian, Jin Guang and Gao Yuan immediately cursed him in their hearts. When they turned their heads and saw Ning Fan's cold expression, fear filled their hearts. They gritted their teeth and each took out 500 million Dao crystals and gave them to Lu Xian. Lu Xian carefully kept the quicksand pearl. Her heart was filled with sweetness. This was the quicksand pearl that Ning Fan had helped her get back. She must take good care of it. Looking at the 3 storage pouches in her hands, Lu Xian pondered for a moment. Then, her face turned red and she passed the storage pouch to Ning Fan. Thank you for helping me get the quicksand pearl. Without your help, I certainly wouldn't be able to get it back. These 1.5 billion Dao crystals are for you. There's no need for that. You won the bet yourself. Keep it for your own use. Ning Fan shook his head and pushed the storage pouch back. To Lu Xian, 1.5 billion Dao crystals was an unimaginable amount of wealth. To Ning Fan, 1.5 billion Dao crystals were dispensable. I wonder if my explanation can satisfy junior brother Ning. Sun Yan asked with a flattering smile. In the future, when I'm not around and Lu Xian is bullied again, what should I do? Ning Fan did not answer his question but asked another question instead. Junior brother Ning, don't worry. I, Sun Yan, promise you today that from today onwards, none of the 15 of us will bully junior sister Lu. If there are outsiders who intend to harm junior sister Lu, we will certainly do our best to protect her. Sun Yan vowed. Empty words. Empty words, I don't believe you. Sun Yan was stunned. Then, he let out a dry laugh and said. If that's the case, I'm willing to make a great vow of Heart Devil. From today onwards, I will never bully junior sister Lu again. If she is in trouble, I will certainly do my best to protect her. As soon as Sun Yan expressed his stance, each of the human Profound Realm cultivators gritted their teeth and made the vow. There were also a few human Profound Realm female cultivators who took out some small gifts and gave them to Lu Xian, with a flattering attitude. In the face of everyone's vow and flattery, Lu Xian remained silent. She understood that these people were only showing goodwill to her because of Ning Fan's strength. These goodwill were all fake, like the epiphyllum and duckweed that could not be trusted. Thank you, junior brother Ning. Lu Xian thanked Ning Fan with a flushed face. She only thanked Ning Fan and believed that Ning Fan was really good to her. Not only did Ning Fan help her get back the things that belonged to her, but he also recruited 15 free bodyguards for her. Sun Yan and the rest of them made a great vow of Heart Devil today to take care of her wholeheartedly in the future. If she is in trouble, they will also do their best to help her. From today onwards, her life in the Slaughter Palace would be much easier and safer. She only gave Ning Fan a jade slip, but Ning Fan helped her to this extent. She really did not know how to repay him. To you, I'm just a stranger. I can help you for a while, but I can't help you forever. I can only help you this much. Any more help won't do you any good. Now that Ning Fan was targeted by Fei He and he had a grudge against Yao Qingyun, if he gets too close to Lu Xian, it would only bring harm to her. I'm already very grateful that you're willing to help me once. How can I ask you to help me forever? Next time, I will learn to be smarter and won't be deceived by others. Lu Xian said in a low voice. And, that's good. I still have something to do, so I'll take my leave first. Ning Fan gave Sun Yan and the others a sharp look, then his figure flashed and drifted away. Lu Xian looked at Ning Fan's traveling light and was lost in thought for a long time. As for Sun Yan and the others, all of them heaved a sigh of relief as if they were granted amnesty. When they looked at Lu Xian again, their faces were filled with envy. Especially the few other female cultivators, they were almost jealous of Lu Xian's good life. The few female cultivators questioned themselves. Their figures and appearance were several times better than Lu Xian. Why could Lu Xian get Ning Fan's care and protection, but they could only get Ning Fan's cold eyes? Fortunately, they had already made the great vow of Heart Devil and were afraid of Ning Fan's strength. Even if they were jealous of Lu Xian, they would not dare to do anything to her. On the contrary, if Lu Xian was in trouble, they would have to follow the vow to protect her even if they were unwilling. Could it be that Ning Fan is used to eating meat and fish, so he likes to eat Lu Xian's vegetable porridge? The few female cultivators looked at Lu Xian's small body seriously and made random guesses. After all, Sun Yan and the others were Lu Xian's allies. If he killed all of them or threatened them too harshly, it would only make Lu Xian's situation in the slaughter palace more difficult. Dealing with it this way was already the best result. Ning Fan returned to his disciples' dormitory and rested for another day. On the third day, when the sky was dark, Fei He's figure appeared in front of Ning Fan without any warning. With a flick of his sleeve, he brought Ning Fan out of the disciples' dormitory and soared into the sky. As Fei He took out a small silver boat, an oval-shaped blood-red door of light suddenly appeared beside him. Inside the door of light, there was a long blood-red river that stretched on endlessly. On the bank of the blood-red river stood a giant monument. There were two ancient inscriptions engraved on the monument: "Water can carry a boat but it can also capsize it." Looking at the giant monument, Fei He explained to Ning Fan with a solemn and gloomy expression. "This door of light is the entrance to the blood world of slaughter. Once you take out the 7 stars boat within the territory of the Blood Sea planet, the entrance will appear. In my slaughter palace, any cultivator who is above the Shifu Void Realm or cultivators who have made great contributions will be given a 7 stars boat. They can enter the blood world at any time and have the right to meet the killing emperor. This river is called the Blood River. It was formed by the divine ability of the first killing emperor. Even ordinary immortal emperors can't fly across the river by relying on their high cultivation base. If they try to fly by force, they will sink into the blood river and die. With my early Shifu Void Realm cultivation base, it will take me 1 month to cross the river with the help of the 7 stars boat. During this month, you can cultivate in the cabin of the 7 stars boat and refine all the heavenly ingredients and earthly treasures that you bought from the main pavilion of the slaughter palace. I will personally steer the boat to cross the river. During the process, you must not be distracted at all. You must not disturb me. Otherwise, if the boat sinks into the blood river, none of us will survive." Seeing how serious Fei He was, Ning Fan naturally agreed and promised not to disturb Fei He's steering of the boat. He did not plan to die on the blood river together with Fei He. With a flash, the two of them boarded the 7 stars boat. Following Fei He's instructions, Ning Fan entered the cabin and found a room to enter secluded cultivation. He first entered the Yuanya world and then the Profound Yin world. As such, even Fei He only knew that Ning Fan had entered a small Kiliacosm Cosmos treasure to cultivate. He did not know that Ning Fan had entered a medium Kiliacosm Cosmos treasure. It's also a good thing that this young man has entered a small Kiliacosm. It saves me from having to divert my attention to guard against his sneak attacks. There is no room for carelessness on the blood river. Once an accident happens, I will die in the blood river. Fei He stood at the bow of the 7 stars boat. His finger seals were constantly changing as he steered the boat across the blood river. It would take 1 month to cross the river. This month was just enough for Ning Fan to refine the blood lotus and devour the 1 million years old spiritual herbs. After devouring the 1,700 tufts of 1 million years old spiritual herbs, Ning Fan's body was shrouded in immortal mist. The 6th and 7th petals of the natal lead lotus bloomed. When the 7 petals bloomed, the defense of the 1 million lotus shadows was enough to defend against all attacks below the ghost profound realm. The blood lotus spirit equipment was refined into his body. Ning Fan had also studied the flame dragon breath technique for a while. This technique was a high-grade immortal technique. The difficulty of learning it was much higher than the spatial vortex technique. Ning Fan had just learned the basics of this technique. He did not know how long he would need to study this technique in order to unleash its full power. To a cultivator who painstakingly cultivates, 1 month was just too short. 1 month later, Ning Fan walked out of the cabin of the star boat. The realm gate of the bloody slaughtering world could already be seen from afar. When Fei He saw Ning Fan coming out, he did not say anything. He changed his hand seals and the star boat turned into a ray of silver light. It flew up from the blood river and dashed into the realm gate. What came into his sight was a medium kiliacosm that was shrouded in eternal darkness. Beneath his feet was a boundless continent where countless mortals and cultivators lived. In the night sky, there were 7 stars that were connected to each other. In the eyes of mortals, they were 7 stars. In Ning Fan's eyes, they were 7 enormous star palaces that floated in the night sky. He kept the 7-star boat and stood in the starry sky with Ning Fan. He pointed at the head of the 7 stars, Tian Shu, and said, "In this Tian Shu star position, there is the Greedy Wolf Star Palace. It was the temporary imperial residence of the first-generation killing emperor. Since his death, this palace has been abandoned." Then, he pointed at the 2nd star of the Big Dipper and said, "In this Tian Xian star position, there is the Zhu Men Star Palace. It was the temporary imperial residence of the 2nd-generation killing emperor. Since his death, this palace has been abandoned. Up until now, the killing palace has had 7 generations of killing emperors. All of them were named after the Big Dipper. The name of the 3rd-generation killing emperor is Lu Xiyuan. The name of the 4th-generation killing emperor is Wen Chu. The name of the 5th-generation killing emperor is Lian Zhen. The name of the 6th-generation killing emperor is Wu Chu. The current killing emperor is the 7th-generation killing emperor of the killing palace. His name is Pejun Shadi. He lives in the Pejun Star Palace on the 7th star of the Big Dipper." After a brief introduction, he stepped in the starry sky. A white lotus appeared under his feet and carried Ning Fan to the 7th star palace. Ning Fan remained silent. Looking at the 7 stars of the Big Dipper in the sky, he suddenly recalled a sentence on the giant stele of the Heaven Tower. "Big Dipper, Big Dipper, Big Dipper, Big Dipper." The killing palace seemed to be very obsessed with the 2 words Big Dipper. The strange phenomenon of the heaven seizing seal also seemed to be connected with the 7 stars of the Big Dipper. The blood sword in the 7th floor of the blood prison also seemed to have 7 pieces of crystals embedded in it. They were connected with the position of the Big Dipper. All the previous killing emperors were named after the 7 stars of the Big Dipper. What exactly was the meaning behind this? The white lotus flew at full speed and gradually approached the Broken Army Star Palace. All of a sudden, 2 rays of cold and boundless qi descended from the sky and locked onto Fei He and Ning Fan. That qi had obviously reached the 4th level of the eternal immortal realm, the Immortal King realm. "Who are you?" Just as the cold voice fell, 2 figures, one black and one white, appeared in front of the white lotus. All of a sudden, Fei He's expression became extremely nervous. He hurriedly cupped his fists and said, "I'm Fei He, an elder of the killing palace. I have something to ask the killing emperor. Please help me pass the message." How could he not be terrified? It was because the 2 immortal kings in black and white were not living beings. Both of them did not have high spiritual intelligence. If he says anything wrong, he would be instantly killed by the 2 of them. An immortal king realm corpse puppet. Ning Fan was shocked. What kind of expert could actually refine a dignified immortal king into a puppet? Could it be the killing emperor?